The Weigh-In, where we talk to content creators, bait makers, and industry insiders. This episode's brought to you by our fine sponsors, Big Al Speed Shine. You can find all their products at BigAlSpeedShine.com. Spray it on, wipe it off, done. Deep gloss, slick finish, big shine. Big Al Speed Shine, slick it up. FCLX. FCLX is a specialized extinguishing agent designed to tackle complex lithium-ion battery fires and conveniently packaged for use in boats, side-by-sides, campers, and homes. Proudly made in the USA, FCLX penetrates the battery during thermal runaway, rapidly cooling the fire and preventing reignition. The FCLX agent interrupts the lithium oxidation process that fuels the fire while neutralizing the harmful gases. Get yours today at FullCircleLithium.com. Now, let's get ready to weigh in. All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Monday night episode of The Weigh-In. Thank y'all for joining us. Hopefully, we made it live. I think we're going good so far. We're on TikTok. I know that. I finally got TikTok pulled up before the show started. And, you know, it wouldn't be a Monday night show if we didn't have a little bit of, you know, technical difficulties or something like that. And Miss Blanding made it in like with 13 seconds to spare, which is all good. We're going to bring her in just a minute. I want to do a couple of housekeeping things real quick. Well, at least one important housekeeping thing real fast. Guys, you know, we had Roger Smith on with Fish Nerd Labs a couple weeks ago. I think it's been 2 or 3 weeks ago, whatever it's been. And a super cool guy, Fish Nerd Labs, the best live well treatment you can get for your live wells. I keep it in my boat. I've got the foam fade up here with me, but I keep the Smart Spray, Smart Soak in the boat. He called me today. He's having some medical stuff going on, and it's some serious medical stuff. I'm not going to air it out without talking to him a little bit more. We talked for about 20 or 30 minutes, and he's a really good guy, really nice guy, and he could use all y'all's support. This could be life-changing medical stuff if it, you know, is not treated. He called it super early. So we're praising that. He could use your prayers, thoughts, you know, and if you want to support him by going to the website and purchasing, you know, some Fish Nerd Lab stuff, you know, we've got the code. I'm going to stick the code down at the bottom. You get the 20% discount using the code weigh-in at checkout. But he is a very passionate individual when it comes to fish care. And the, you know, like I said, he's optimistic. Everything's going good, but we just want to make sure he's taken care of. And the medical stuff, even with insurance, is huge right now. Cost of medical bills go up. So as much as we can support him, I would appreciate it, because, you know, hearing somebody tell you, you know, taking the time to call you and tell you what's going on in their life, to tell you what a big, you know, something like that's going on, meant a lot to me. And he's a good friend and he's a good conservationist, you know, of our sport. So go down there to fishnerdlabs.com, 20% discount, use the code weigh-in, spread it around, share it around, whatever you can do to get it out there to folks. I know he would really greatly appreciate it. And without further ado, we're going to bring Miss Blanding into the show if she's ready. And hopefully she's got set. Like, she just walked in the door. Literally, it came on about the time I was going to hit go live. So here she is. Oh, hang on. Sorry, guys. And welcome to the show.
And here I am.
There you go. Listen, everybody, she texts me like, I don't know, it was about 20 minutes till, and she's like, go figure, I'm 10 miles away, stuck in traffic. And you know, it never, we have a running joke on the show that it's not a Monday night show without some kind of technical difficulty. Usually it's internet
some type
related.
of drama, right?
Well, usually it's internet. My internet will drop like 5 minutes before the show. The camera may shut off during the show. I'll bring it right back up, but the camera likes to just go off whenever it wants to. We've always got something happening on the show. So now it's kind of one of those things where we just kind of laugh it off and move on with it. So tournament, we're going to, you know, say hey to the folks in the comments real quick. We got Buzzbait Slinger Coleman. He's in almost tournament week, 1 week till I'm off of work fishing every day. I wish I was doing that. It'd be nice.
Me too.
I mean, you know, everybody thinks I fish all the time. Like, hey, what are you doing? I'm working. That's all I do is work. Yeah, and my wife in the comments talking about Roger. He is a super nice guy. Again, folks, I know he would, if nothing else, just a kind word to the man. I know he would appreciate it. But anyway, we got Miss Tonya. I said it right, correct?
You got it right.
Tonya Blanding. I wanted to make sure I said it correctly. And it's pretty easy to get right because it almost matches my name, Tonya. I was like, okay, that's pretty close. Pretty close.
Some similar letters in there, right?
I shouldn't mess it up too bad. But I really appreciate you jumping on. Yeah, and Mondays always are, you know, very interesting for sure. I appreciate you jumping on. A little bit of backstory. Last year we were at ICAST at the line cutters party, and Mike Porter introduced you to me. You know, and he was like, hey, you need to check her out. She's doing great things in the fishing community. I told you then, I said, we're going to get you on the show. Well, a lot of stuff transpired over the course of a year. I think I even messaged you not long after that and said, hey, I gave Danny your information, and we got things happen with the show, and so now we're all doing different shows. We're still all together. The podcast guys are still together. But I do a Monday night show, and it's
Okay.
it's my goal was to get more female anglers on the show, and you are now you're the second one. So the first one I contacted you, I had another lady. I emailed her and asked her to be on. She was on for the first one, but you were my first choice. You just couldn't make it that week, and I hate that. But
Yeah.
you were my first choice. But yeah,
Thank you.
no, you're very welcome. I legitimately appreciate you taking the time. I know you're traveling right now, and it's a little bit harder to get, like you said, you had to get back to the hotel room in order to get on the show. And I really appreciate you taking the time to do it. And, I put on, I did the bio that you sent me, did some stuff for the post this morning. I put it on the thing. And guys, I'm not trying to take any of the spotlight away, but go to the Bassmaster website, Google her name, Bassmaster website. A really good write-up article was done back in 24, I think it was.
Yeah, it was 24.
Really great article to read. And it's not often that we get to talk to somebody that's featured in a Bassmaster. That's pretty cool. So I think that's awesome. How did that come about? How did they reach out to you to do that?
I was just as surprised myself. I mean, I was like, okay, wait a minute, what did I do? And how did you find me? And it was just one of those things where it was just, consistent posting on social media.
Okay.
And I'm from South Carolina. As everybody knows, Anastasia is an ambassador for them. But really what it was putting yourself in spaces with people that are in the industry so that you can get to be known. And that's really kind of how it happened. Just consistent posting, the right hashtags on social media. And Miss Butts reached out to me and she was like, hey, would you like to do this? I think I actually saw the poster where they were looking for people to feature as well. And
Okay.
I was like, yeah, that'll be pretty cool to get my story and to be on Bassmaster website. Like, even if I don't do anything else, I'm like, hey, I was featured on their website at one
Hey,
time.
listen, there's a lot of folks in this world that ain't featured on Bassmaster website, magazine, whatever. So that's a pretty cool comment. I mean, that's an awesome accomplishment, I think. So that's absolutely great. So,
Yeah.
and I know we're kind of jumping in a little bit. Usually I start the show off and I say, hey, tell us about yourself. And it puts you in an awkward position. So I kind of going a little bit different. We know South Carolina. Where'd you go to school in South Carolina?
So I am a University of South Carolina alum. When I say USC, I am not talking about Southern Cal. I am talking about South Carolina. So
Listen,
let me get that straight.
nobody west of Alabama gets it. Nobody east of Alabama makes that mistake. I mean, we all know you're talking
Right.
about South Carolina.
Exactly. When the first time it happened to me, I was like, what do you mean? What USC?
Yeah, right. Nobody's making that mistake for sure. But yeah,
Right.
but I just wanted to get that out there because we're all in Georgia dog country over here, and we're like South Carolina, but
Yeah,
dang good rival. So we'll take it for that. So little bit we'll go into a little bit of backstory. So how did you how long? No, let me say it like this: how much has fishing been a part of your life? Going back to your childhood, or as far back as you can remember, how much has fishing been a part of your life?
Fishing has always been a part of my life. You got to think, I grew up in a very, very rural area. I'm talking about no stoplights, no post office. There was a corner store where we could buy our penny candy, and there was a
Mm-hmm.
baseball field. That was kind of like the highlight of the neighborhood. So during the summers, what's a kid to do? I mean, we had a lot of woods, we had a lot of outdoors, so we were either hunting birds and squirrels or either fishing, loading up the truck early mornings, especially on the weekends, when my parents was off or when my grandparents would take us. But me, all of my cousins, we would load up the back of the pickup truck. We would go down to the nearest little bridge. We would walk down, go through the woods, dig our own little worms, and start fishing for whatever we could catch.
There you go. Now,
Yeah, so it goes way, way, way back to then, and I've always had a fascination for it. I mean, even watching Bill dance on in the mornings, like I would not miss that show, and I should have known then that okay, there's something that's drawing me to it because I was so intrigued by that. I have no
right.
idea why until now that where I see this passion for it, but
Yeah, I mean, now was for me, and I look, for me, bass fishing wasn't really a thought when I was a kid. We did a lot of catfishing. That was our biggest thing because my aunt had a catfish pond, and you could go over there and take a loaf of bread and catch catfish till you're tired of catching them. So bass fishing didn't even cross my mind. Was bass fishing something that intrigued you then, or was it just any catch, or was it something that you noticed came along later?
Yeah, it was any catch because back then when we were fishing from the bridge, we were catching things like brim, mudfish, mouse,
Yeah.
eels. My cousin hooked one of them one time and he took off running down the road because he thought it was a snake.
Hey,
But
I'll blame you.
even watching Bill dance, it was still, we did not catch bass,
Right.
where we live. It just seemed like I guess there were none in that area up under that bridge. So
Right.
it wasn't until later that that came.
Yeah, I just asked that question because I was thinking I don't remember the point in which I went, I'm going to start bass fishing. I don't. I mean, I guess I kind of sort of do, but I don't really remember that moment. Like I'm just going to focus purely on bass and not really focus on anything else. So it's one of those, maybe it was going to jog my memory too. Maybe why I chose bass over everything else. But you know, because you get, I get a lot of comments in social media now, and the guys are like, "You ought to try catfishing. It's way better." And I understand everybody's got their passion, but I have no desire. I mean, I'll catch anything that bites a hook. I don't care. But I guess if nothing's biting, I'll go catfishing. But it's like bass is just for some reason, and dug in deep. And I'm
Yeah,
guessing that's the way it is with you. It's dug in deep for bass fishing, but you also still do a lot of other types. So you still go out there and pan fish and bring you home, a load of crappie and stuff like that. I see
I
the social
sure
media
do.
posts.
I might actually like crappie and shell cracker fishing just a little bit better than bass.
Yeah,
It's
nothing wrong with
almost
that.
kind of guaranteed to catch at least one shell cracker. I mean, one crappie. And if you go shell cracker fishing, you already know once that bite is on, it's every time you drop it in, every time you drop that line in the water, you're getting one out of there. So
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
it's right up there with bass fishing.
And
Don't
I can
ask me to choose one over the other.
There you go. And there's nothing wrong with that now. And for me, I can say with almost 100% certainty, if we're going out to forward facing sonar fishing, I promise you, we're going to catch crappie. Eric LaRue's in the
Yes.
comments, and he and I will go out there and we'll catch crappie, and it'll be some big ones too. It won't be no little bitty ones. It'll be
Oh
the
yeah.
biggest I've ever seen kind of crappie. And we're looking at each other like, dang, we ought to be crappie fishing. Of course, if we were
Oh
crappie
yeah.
fishing, we'd catch bass, and that's the problem. That's what always tends to happen. So Eric's got a great question. He said, what is your home lake?
Lake Marion, often referred to as Santee Cooper Lakes, but when you hear Santee Cooper Lakes, they're combining Lake Moultrie and Lake Marion.
Okay.
But I'm closer to Marion.
Okay. Now I've never gotten to fish Santee Cooper or any of the lakes there in that chain. Um, but you see on TV or wherever the monster fish that come out of that lake or that chain of lakes or whatever you want to call it there. Um, how is that how is Santee or Marion compared to some other lakes that you fish as far as like, is that always going to be home lake? Like, is that one of those lakes that it's just unbeatable?
It's always going to be home, although I have a love hate relationship with Santee because I know there's some big ones out there, but I hadn't got that double digit yet out of there. But it's just something about the fishery, the cypress trees. That's something that you don't see, like when Hartwell and Clarks Hill are two of my other favorite places to fish. But when you go there, you don't see the trees, you don't see the laydowns, you don't see, that what makes Santee Cooper. You don't see that in a lot of places.
Right.
So you're almost guaranteed to get a tree bite. Um, you're almost guaranteed if you're going to drag a worm, you're more than likely going to catch something.
Yeah.
And who knows how big it's going to be. I mean, we have the dam that's down there. It's just so much, and it's so many variations to Santee to where you can catch just about any and everything that you want. But there are some nice sized bass out there.
Right. And like I said, we see them all the time. It's just one of those. I'm the guy that if I went to Santee, I wouldn't probably catch a double digit. I would probably catch a lower unit on something, and then I'd be replacing. That's just my thing. But a place like Santee is one of those like dream destinations, and I see a lot of guys getting to go. I have one of the guys in our group, Alex Purse, he got to go there on a kayak, with relaxed retreat outdoors, and the
Oh
guys got
yeah.
together, went out there and did that, and you just watching, going, man, I need to get out there one day, but just haven't made that trip. But I mean, honestly, and everybody knows I haven't fished Hartwell yet, and Hartwell's another lake that you like, and I've had the opportunity, just not taking that to go and do that. So, you're
Yeah,
getting to
you
fish.
definitely got to get to Hartwell. Hartwell is
Yeah.
you'll fall in love with Hartwell. Hartwell
Well,
is beautiful.
we've I have family that lives over in that area, and then we've had some guys on the show here, spot chasers, guide services on here, had him on here, and we talked about maybe getting a trip together and going. Just honestly, he's so busy here lately, hadn't made a chance to get out there. But I'm gonna get there this year. I'm gonna go to Hartwell for sure. All right, so Eric's got another question for you. I know we're gonna hit all questions too. That's the one thing about the show. Do you think Santee will be the next top bass lake in the country and overtake places like Guntersville?
So yes, absolutely. 100%. The only thing that I think is kind of lacking with Santee right now, and that's really making it that premier spot, is some of our landings. You know what I mean? Like some of
Yeah.
our boat ramps and things of that nature. If we can get that up to a higher standard, like Green Pond Landing,
Yep.
when you go to Green Pond, it's like, wow, like this is a facility. Like even the Classic is going to be there next year, but
Yeah.
the fishing in Santee, I mean, you got people that's coming out with, just this year, this guy, the biggest bag I think I ever caught was 42 pounds, almost
Yeah.
42 pounds out
Yeah.
of Santee Cooper between Lake Marion and Lake Moultrie. You caught 42 pounds of bass. Like, come on, that's unreal. So it for sure will be one of the top in the country, and they're always ranked with Bassmaster. So
Oh, absolutely. Now, I've got one of our sponsors, FCLX. His son, Fisher Carver. Well, I'll get the camera here. FCLX guy Fisher Carver was out there at Santee a week or two ago with college tournaments, and of course, he called me and let me know how things were going, and he told me that I think they had, gosh, close to 30 pounds, and they weren't, or maybe they had 20. For day one got canceled. Anyway, they had a lot of weight. I had a 7 pounder, a 5 pounder, and they had a bag. It was over 20 something pounds, and they were in
yeah,
like 30 or 40th place with
let me
30
tell
with
you, the high school, that whole weekend was insane. It was a couple of weeks ago, but they had the junior series, the high school, and the college all fishing during that same time frame. And I did go to the weigh-in that Sunday,
okay.
and it was, yeah, it was crazy. Even one of the high school teams came in with 26 pounds.
Yeah, that's unreal. Now, from what I understood, like the top, 5 or 10 were pretty close in weights, like in the high 30s or mid 30s,
Hmm.
whatever it was. And then after that, if you didn't have 30 pounds, you were way down the line there.
It's
So
that time of year for sure.
yeah, unreal,
If you
unreal.
got five fish and they weigh in like 12 pounds, you might as well just be like, man, you're going up there just for the points and just to weigh them in, because you know that's not going to compete.
Listen, I can promise you, if I'm in that tournament, I'm gonna have those 5 for 12 or 5 for 10. We're gonna throw these back. We're not even
Sounds
gonna
like me.
embarrass them. We're not even gonna embarrass ourselves at that way in. Speaking of that, so to let everybody know, I fished a tournament on Saturday. It was the West Point tournament. It was the Troop County, Coweta County EMC Operation Roundup tournament they had. We were sponsored in by Heidelberg Materials. Me and my buddy that he and I've never fished together, so we went out. Just give a little backstory on everything. We went out and fished. I'd been pre-fishing a little bit. Yeah, that was an embarrassment, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. I am snake bit on tournaments. We started in the right spot. Coleman, me and him talked about it the week before. He fished there the week before. I decided to fish there. As soon as we pull up, we had to play a little defense, keep some people off the spot. They started blowing up. We started catching them, and then as quick as it started, it ended, and
It ended.
we caught 4 fish for the whole day. We ran up and down the lake twice. My buddy almost came out of the boat. We hit a rogue wave from a wake boat. He almost came out of the boat, lost his hat, lost his bag of sunflower seeds, and I've got
Oh
360
God.
footage. I've got 360 footage of it. It's gonna be pretty funny watching him almost come out of that boat. He was not a happy camper, and all I could do was laugh
I
at him.
bet he wasn't.
I couldn't do anything but laugh. So, guys, hopefully I'll start releasing those shorts pretty soon. But it's gonna be pretty funny. But yeah, we had 4 fish. And the day before, guys were catching 20 plus pounds, and even those guys came back and said they had 10 pounds. It was just a weird, that cold front that came through. Just it seemed like it knocked them in the head, and
Yeah.
did not fish the way I thought it was going to fish. But anyway, that's enough about my tournament weekend. But I thought that was pretty funny. So going back to your Santee Cooper comment a minute ago about being the premier lake and what's wrong with why it may not be quite there yet with landings and stuff. We always talk about on the show, do you really want it to be a premier lake though? Like that's the problem when it starts getting that infamy or famous or whatever you want to call it. Next thing you know, you got 400 people sitting out there and they're building boat ramps and they're putting houses and they're doing things like, and then the fishing starts to go one way or the other, or the pleasure boaters,
Yeah.
which I know Santee really probably has a different you know perspective of that. But do you really want that to happen?
Yeah, and that's it's like a two-edged sword. You know what I mean? Because with it being a premier lake, it is going to bring a lot of revenue to that area, to the
Right.
Clarendon County, to that area. But then at the same time, people that love fishing on the lake, I mean, they're already feeling some type of way about it. They from February until April, that lake is getting beat to death. I'm talking about every weekend there's a tournament, and there's multiple tournaments that's going on at one time. And there is a fear that, okay, it's going to ruin everything that makes it Santee Cooper.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, you know, we can use that revenue. We can
Yeah.
use that traffic of new people coming in, and putting it on the map and getting some some visibility out there for Clarendon County and all the greatness that it has to offer. But yeah, is how do you control it is
Right.
the thing.
Yeah. So where's if I'm coming out that way? Because if I come out that, I'm gonna have to stay somewhere. Where's a good area to stay in and a good ramp to put in at?
So John C. Landing, that's the one that most tournaments use. Um, if it That is probably your safest. The next is Alex
Okay.
Harbin.
Okay. That's what I needed to hear. I need to know the safest because I don't have lower unit money.
That's probably your safest. And then you have Alex Harbin, which
Okay.
is opposite direction going towards the dam, but that one is pretty decent. There's several others. You can go to Pax Landing, you can go to Jacks Creek, you Relax Retreat. They
Yep.
they are rebuilding and rebranding that, and I really like the direction that they're going in with that one.
Yes.
Prior to that, it didn't really carry a good name, and a lot of people were
Okay.
kind of staying away from it before it became Relax Retreat. But I do like what they're doing. Their landing is pretty safe, and even the area, that Jacks Creek area, is a really nice spot to
Okay.
fish in just to start. Yeah, and you can get just about anywhere from there. Just follow the channel markers if you're not familiar,
Oh yeah.
or have somebody guide you.
And that might be something we talk about doing, maybe doing a guide trip down there or something just to get used to the lake. Because I
Yeah.
my biggest fear is getting, you get a few minutes away from the boat ramp and you tear a lower unit off, and you're like, well, I guess we're trolling back the whole way. So
Oh
that's what
yeah.
that's what I worry about. So
Yeah, but
relax
there's
retreat.
there's so many other ones though. I mean, you got Angels, you got Black's Camp. You got to think that you're Orangeburg County and Clarendon County, and I've only seen probably half of what Clarendon County has to offer. But there are so many boat ramps that once you cross over 95, you have
Yeah.
other options in that area too.
Oh, 95. That road number will never leave my. If anybody knows anything about military, 95, it goes from Pensacola all the way up the East Coast, it seems like, to every Marine Corps town or military town along the way.
Oh
And 90,
yeah,
95 or 10, 95 or 10, one of those two is always going
95
to
or
get me.
10. Yep.
It's always going to get me. So you said that my blood went, ugh, we 95.
Oh man.
So no, it's all good. Hey, John G. Wilson, thanks for stopping by, man. I'm gonna make sure I say hey to everybody. Team Turner wants to know. Team Turner 81 wants to know what made you choose a Ranger boat.
So I met a boy that had a Ranger boat. And I really liked his Ranger. But then I started when I started fishing in BFLs as a co-angler, I had the opportunity to ride in other boats. So I was in a Nitro, I was in a Skeeter, which are really nice. Phoenix, those are nice too. The incentives and all of that is really great. Payouts good for them. But I was just comfortable in a Ranger. I like the size. I like the space in the back. I mean, my first BFL tournament, I was in a Nitro like Z18 or something like that. And I
Yeah,
had this much space to fish from the back. And I was so nervous that I was going to fall off just because I was accustomed to a much larger space in the
yeah.
back of the boat. But just overall comfort and ride, I just love a Ranger.
Now, do you remember what year the Nitro was? The Z18. Do you remember what year that was?
Uh
What year model boat that was?
It might have been a 2018, I
Okay.
think.
I just wondered because I had only ridden in two nitros, and the first one I thought it sounded like we were riding an empty Coke bottle, and I thought the whole everything on the front of the boat was going to come off. But it was an older nitro. So I mean,
And the one I was in might have been older than that too. I don't know.
it was
But
like a
it was,
90.
I'm talking about, it was tiny. The
Yeah,
width of it, the length of it, everything. And I was like, "Oh my God. Okay, what I know I'm not
yeah.
accustomed to this. What am I gonna do?"
But my buddy Eric in here, he's got a Z20 2022, I believe it is, and they're a lot better than what they were once upon a time for sure, and they've got a lot of more room. But of course, you're talking about a 20 footer versus an 18 footer, and
Right.
that may be the 2 foot difference we're
Yeah, and
talking
that
about
and
the back
that's
of
the
the boat.
difference. I'm sure
Yeah,
that that's the difference because I rode with Anastasia and her nitro, and I was like, okay, this is nice. Even the
yeah.
seats was all nice and
Oh
comfy
yeah,
and everything. So
oh yeah.
yeah.
And that's I've got an old 91 Ranger, and that back when I was a kid, or I say kid, I was in teenager years, older teenager, whatever. Yeah, you wasn't somebody if you didn't have a Ranger back then, and I was always gonna get me a Ranger. So I'm in that Ranger club, and it's like, do I want to give up my Ranger to get a different boat? But I don't know. It's hard to say for sure.
What would you get though if you was to go somewhere
That,
else?
that's a great question. I can tell you with 100% certain. Now me and Eric talked about this last night because I did a video where I was in somebody else's newer Ranger, and I would always love to have a Ranger, just to have one. But if I was going to say, I don't want to use the phrase "money no option," money's no object, because then I would get some stupid whatever. If it was one of those ones where I was having to make a payment on one and had to pick one right now, it would be a Blazer. I got to I got to ride in a 2024 Blazer for the Toys for Tots tournament on Lanier this last December, and with 26 boat or 25 boats in front of us, and me, I'm not a small guy, and my partner, he's a little bit smaller guy, but we hit 74 miles an hour going past all those boats with wakes and everything else, and it rode just like the new Ranger, just like the Ranger does. And that gentleman had a Ranger, a 96 Ranger with a 200 on it up until that point when he got that one, and he
Hmm.
said this thing rides just like the Ranger did. And so
Okay.
it was a comfortable ride, big boat, large front deck, adequate back casting deck, whatever. It was a nice boat. But of course, he gets it from a buddy that already had the power poles on it, all the graphs were already on it, all that stuff, and he got a good deal on it. $85,000-$90,000 boats just ain't in Tony's wheelhouse right now. I still like the Rangers, but the last time I looked at a Ranger 20 foot, 21 foot that I'd want to get, and then prices get up there, So I don't know.
Oh
I say
yeah.
I say the Blazer just because I like the way they look. They're sleek looking, and they're quick.
And they're
They're fast.
fast.
They're fast.
They are
And
fast. I rode in one in my tournament on Kerr Lake, the
uh-huh.
regional. And you're talking about fast. I was just sitting there. I was like, okay, I know for sure we were 75 plus. So when we
Easy.
got to the first stop, I asked my boater, I said, well, how fast are we going? And he was like, oh yeah, he said 76. And he said, but it can do more than that. But I got some problems with. So I was like, well, why would you want it to do more than that?
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm talking
Thank you.
about it. And we were right. And when you say smooth, yes,
Yes.
it was he was driving that. I got
Yeah.
to give him credit to it. Yeah.
And the only problem I look at it with buying a boat, like let's say a Blazer, from where I'm at, is I'd have to find, number one, a dealership, and then I'd have to find a place that can service the warranties and things like that. That's the stuff I start thinking about. Being older, I start thinking about that. I don't want to drive to
Yeah.
3 hours away to have my boat service because it's under the Blazer warranty or whatever. So that'd be something I have to check out. But
Right.
I'm listen, new boat ain't gonna happen for a long time. We're trying to get some stuff paid off so we can enjoy our years here. I'm not trying to make a $900,000 boat payment a month. So I
Yep.
do like my Ranger.
Priorities change when you get older, right? You're like, wait a minute.
Well,
You start doing a little bit more big picture thinking than just for the now.
that's sort of true for a lot of folks, and it is true. But I didn't fish for 20 something years, so when I got back into it, I went stupid. Like I remember the stories my brother-in-law was them telling me, "Oh yeah, we went to Bass Pro and spent $5,000." I'm like, "You guys are crazy!" And now I'm didn't fish for 20 years. I had to make up for all that, so I've done that crazy thing multiple times now. My wife's like, "There's something wrong with you." So as much as now I'm having to reel it back in just a little bit. Okay, I don't need to buy a new boat. I may repower my old Ranger because it still does what it do. It's still a good looking boat, but yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. So all right, and then yeah, we got Eric talking about he's king of the 5 pounds, 6 pounds now. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Eric wants to know, what is your favorite technique to fish? And I know he spelled your name wrong, but he mistyped it. He spelled it earlier right. So, what's your
That's
favorite
okay.
technique to fish?
Um, I would say, I mean, I love a spinner bait. I don't know why. I just do. I love a spinner bait. And if all else fails, I'm dragging a worm.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm
What's your
dragging a worm. But
What's your
top
go-to?
water is a close second. I love
I don't know.
that blow up on a top water is unreal.
Yeah. You give me top water all day. I mean, just inject it right in my veins. That's all. That's all I want to do. If I could do it, if I could do anything for sure. So, when you say dragging a worm, what's your, let's say, technique? Are you Texas rigging it, shaky head?
Old school shaky head,
There you go.
especially on Santee.
Yeah.
Especially on Santee. You get your old school shaky rig and shaky head rig and you're good to go.
Okay.
Carolina rig will work too. That
Yeah.
Yep. Drop shot. Not I don't think a lot of people do that, but I do that on Santee. And I am quite successful with it. But they just don't like that, the donkey rig with the drop shot where you put a worm on the
Yeah.
end of it where the weight is instead of just having a weight and the worm up top.
Right.
I put a shaky head on the bottom of it.
Wait a minute.
But
So you're taking a drop shot rig and putting
hmm
a shaky head on your bottom, and then putting a worm up the line.
and put the worm up the line.
Come
Yep.
on, man.
That way
Come
I
on.
know if they're
You're
look,
getting both.
I'm trying to cover.
You're
I'm
getting the whole
covering
water
multiple
column.
zones, multiple columns of the water at one time. Okay.
Okay. Dropping some juice on Santee already a little bit. Here we go. That's
Don't
what I'm
try it
talking
on
about.
Santino because it's not
Oh,
that successful.
okay, I
It
got you.
just
Not
seems
that.
like on Santee they don't want all that action going on.
Yeah,
It's
that's
one or
probably
the other.
true.
Hey, give me the drop shot or give me the shaky head. Don't give me both of them at the same time.
I'm
But
so
on a
I'm so.
spotted bass lake,
Oh yeah.
definitely go with that.
I'm so one dimensional minded sometimes. Like I didn't even think about doing the drop shot with a shaky head on the body. I just don't think about stuff like that. I mean, I hear it said. Now I'll be out there next weekend. Me and Eric are going to Lanier. I'll be out there with a doggone shaky head drop shot or drop shaky head. What we're going to
Listen,
call
when when Freddie introduced me to the drop shot, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, this is how you rig it up. You tie your hook up here, and then you gotta wait." And that was my first question. I'm like, "Well, why are you wasting? Why are you just putting a weight down there? Like, why don't you
it. Yeah,
put a
makes
put a
sense.
hook down there? Why like you we have?"
Yeah.
And I went to it was a BFL on Hartwell, and I ran into a guy that he's fished a ton of them. And I don't know why I can't remember his name right now. I just remember they call him Frogman or something like that. And I
Okay.
was talking, he was like, "How did you do?" And I was telling him, I was like, "You know what, I struggled a little bit." And he was like, "I'm gonna tell you what to do." And when he said it, I was like, exactly. Like I asked that question.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it
It
makes
made
100
all the
makes
sense in
ton
the
of sense.
world to me.
Okay, well, I guess we know what we're doing this weekend. We're tying on a drop shot with a shaky head
Try
on it
it.
for
Give
sure.
it.
But
Just try it at least once.
I'm gonna try. No, listen. I'm gonna try it because I'm the guy that would take. When I started learning drop shot a couple years ago, because I had never even wanted to mess with it. I picked it up. I brought it back to one of my local lakes. That's a shallow largemouth lake, and I started casting it like I would my Texas rig, and I was catching fish. But I was like, this thing works everywhere. I mean, why am I not? Why have I not been throwing it? So
Right.
it worked really good. I mean, so I like the drop shot. In fact,
Now the old school people gonna get mad at me for telling y'all that. And they was like, "Okay, you telling the secrets."
hey, we want to get all the juice we can here, to be honest with you, because that's what folks want. They want to hear. If they get one little snippet of something, they'll love it. So
Yeah.
we don't mind you giving it what you can. All right. So listen, the next question that's come up, we get it every show, and we didn't get a chance. I didn't get a chance to warn you. There's nothing bad. I won't put anything bad on the show, but everybody
Okay.
wants to know: have you seen Bigfoot? Do you believe in Bigfoot?
I have not seen Bigfoot.
Okay.
Neither have I seen the lizard man.
Okay. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
um, I have mixed emotions about it. I mean,
Fair
you're
enough.
always just seeing like a little side snippet of nothing. Nobody, why has nobody ever taken a full picture from the front of
Yeah.
Bigfoot? Why is it
Right.
always him walking?
And it's blurry. It's blurry.
Yeah, and it's blurry.
I tell everybody I like the thought I love the stories. I will stop and watch a Bigfoot show in a heartbeat. We've got a Bigfoot museum in North Georgia. If you've never gotten a chance, look it up. It's a really cool museum. Um, it's a lot of fun to go see. I love the stories. I don't know that I'm 100% convinced, but I love the thought that there might be a Bigfoot out in the wood. And in fact, I almost wore my Bigfoot shirt tonight, but I was like, you know what? I'm not even giving those guys the ammunition for tonight. And we didn't. We were 30 minutes in the show and it's already came up. So usually that's kind of a last minute question, but it came up early
I don't
tonight.
know that
So
I even want to see Bigfoot. Like,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, that's true. I had I hunted with some guys years ago. Anyway, long story short, I heard some noises and I said, man, that's kind of weird. And then they got serious and they're like, no, my brother saw Bigfoot. We started talking and I said, guys, I need to stop y'all right where we're at. Because hunters like to do pranks on each other. And I said, guys, I need to stop y'all before we go too much further. And they're like, what? I said, I carry a pistol even during bow season. I said, so don't jump out behind a tree thinking you're going to scare Tony. I said, because you might get something you didn't want to get for sure. So, um, uh, anyway, all right. And then Eric said somebody spent 2 weeks at Gunnersville. You don't want that. Well, I don't know what you're talking about there, Eric. Sorry, I missed that. One thing all right. So Silver Pump, one thing I've learned is you don't want an area getting noticed and overrun. He's going back to the comment we're
yeah,
talking about.
going back to the, yeah, right.
Yeah. Um, and I think that's a big thing. And that's, I don't know if you get it a lot because I know you film a lot of content and stuff, and I don't know if you get any comments from people like, really wish you wouldn't film, or hating that anybody hates on you for filming your fishing content at all. I know I don't get as much hate for it, but I've got buddies that get bashed really well for their fishing, and it's usually certain areas they're fishing, mostly river fishing, that the guys beat up on them a lot. Do you get any of that for showing the
No,
fishing content?
I might have gotten, I've gotten comments that say, well, hey, I know where you are, but I've not gotten anything that was like, well, Jesus, because I mean, think about it. When the elites come to town, or when the
Oh yeah,
MLF Pro Circuit is here, all of that stuff is televised.
yeah,
There's nothing that is a secret anymore, in
yeah,
my opinion. So, if, especially with the technology that we have these
right,
days, I mean,
yeah,
your maps are getting a lot better. They're showing a lot more detail, and there's, in my opinion, there's nothing sacred out
yeah,
there on the water. And I do get it, but I'm not gonna, like, if I just went and I caught 30 something pounds of fish, I'm going to show you the fish. I'm not going to show you where I caught them.
right,
I'm going to show you snippets, or I might even blur out the background.
yeah,
But I do have some people that they've gotten those comments, like, why are you telling these people this, or why are
yep,
you doing this, and why are you doing that? When the
for
truth of the
sure.
matter is, I can show you. That doesn't mean you're going to catch them though.
And that's a very good statement. We've said that you can't catch another man's fish,
Yeah,
as
and
we
and
say
it
it.
changes all the time. I mean, just because it was there, is, I don't know of any area that is guaranteed to have something on it, no matter when you go there. Like, everything has its season and its place. So
Yeah, for sure. I just don't. I'm the kind of guy that I don't. And I've said it before in videos. There's no such thing as a secret spot. Everything, somebody knows where your fishing hole's at. I promise you. You didn't find it.
yeah.
You weren't the first one to find it. I'm not the first one, but I do. There's times I put out video clips and I'll notice that my bow or my console graph is up, and the maps pulled up. And I'm like, dang it, Tony,
Uh,
why'd you do that? Yeah, because there's guys on there that are, they're all of a sudden they're
they're
Sherlock
zooming in. They're
Holmes.
like this.
Oh
Wait a
yeah,
minute.
they're zooming in, enhance, trying to get your
And taking
fishing
a
spot.
picture of it
Oh
so they
yeah.
can get it bigger.
So I mean, but I've only been accused of burning a spot one time, and I quickly said, dude, come on, everybody knows, nothing's secret here anymore. But I just wonder, if you got it all, getting anything from stuff like that, and because you made the
No,
comment a minute ago.
I don't think they're watching me like that too much, because they don't necessarily see me as a threat. Oh, she ain't really putting up no weight or nothing like that.
Well,
But as soon as
you
you start winning
you
stuff, and now people want to start claiming their spots. So she was fishing my area, she was over here,
yeah.
she was over there, type of thing.
Have you ever run into that on the water at all? Like if somebody pull up on you and say, "Hey, you're fishing my spot." I've never had that per se, but I mean, have you ever had that come up?
But while I was out fun fishing, yeah,
Really?
I did. And it happened one time, and
Yeah.
it was from a local guy that fish. Apparently, he fishes that area all the time, but I've never
Right.
seen him on it for as many times as I've been out there. But
Right.
it's just that one particular day, I guess, where I was where he likes to cast.
Yeah.
And he couldn't cast because I was there. But I mean, he could have just shared some helpful tips and say, well, hey, right where you're sitting is where the fish sits. So I could have moved out and we both could have fished it.
Right. Was it so? It wasn't a cordial conversation. Was he rude about it? I'm just curious. I'm just curious. Just
Not out loud, at least not where he thought we could hear him, but we
ah.
could see, because sound carries over that water.
Oh yeah.
So
He's over there.
yeah. And
He's
I
over there.
don't think people realize that.
He's over there mumbling stuff. It's like we can hear you. We can still hear you, sir.
Right. And
Now
as a
we're going.
result, we're gonna sit right here.
I was just going to say. Now we live here. Now we live here.
Yes.
I've just changed my
Camp
mailing address
out,
to
power
this spot.
poles down. I'm about to go eat a snack.
I just called the post office. They now have this waypoint for my mailing address for sure. Um, and then Eric says the Z18. The Z18's a bit different than yours. I know that. I was trying to say that the Nitro Z20 was a bigger boat and it's a better boat. Eric. I'm just messing. He knows I like that boat. I was really impressed with that. I really was impressed with his Nitro. When he pulled up with, I was like, because he said, I got a Nitro. And I'm like, okay, cool. You got a boat. And it's really, they're a lot more impressive than what I thought.
Yeah, they
The
are.
last
They're
one I
nice.
was on. Hey, Crankin' Yankin, he's in the house. Crankin' Yankin is our resident forward-facing sonar hater from Louisiana. He fishes on Caddo, so he don't need it. He don't need it out there for sure. And then
Right.
Eric says Anastasia runs a Z20 XL, I believe, just a touch bigger than his boat. So,
Okay.
yep. Uh, and then Coleman, yeah, the Blazer was insane, and that man, I had an opportunity to buy the gentleman that he bought his Blazer from gets a new boat every year, and I had the opportunity to buy his 25 model right after that tournament, and I turned it down. I could just about kick myself because the price was insane, fully rigged. And I'm like, no, I can't afford that right now. And then I go price one about a month later, and I'm like, yeah, it would have been $20,000 off the sticker price if I'd have bought it
Oh yeah.
for a year-old boat with less than 100 hours on it. But listen, if it's meant to be, it'll come around.
It'll come back around.
And then Crankin' Yankin makes a very good point. You can catch as many fish out of a tracker as you can Ranger or anything else, and I will definitely agree with you there, sir.
Spot on.
Absolutely. I mean, we fished that terminal West Point over on Saturday, and right two boats behind us. We're like boat 10, so we're sitting up there near the front. I look back. I'm standing up. I look back, and there's a guy in a John boat with probably a 20 horsepower motor on. I looked at my partner. I said, "Those guys are the ones you got to worry about right there." I said,
Yep.
"Because they know they ain't going real far, and they're going to go wherever I can't go, and they're probably going to catch
Exactly.
crap out of
Yes, absolutely.
that's kind of I don't worry about the expensive boats. I mean, I don't really worry about anybody, I guess, but I look at that guy and go, yep, he probably fixed to kick our teeth in for sure. All right, Eric wants to know, we get this question a lot too. One bait forever, what is it? The color, weight, trailer, etc.
Um, Strike King Premier spinnerbait with a Kitech trailer, chartreuse and white on the spinnerbait.
There you go. I like it. I like it. Well, did you say the weight of the spinnerbait by chance?
Half ounce.
Half ounce. I like throwing a heavier spinnerbait. I throw a half ounce or a 3/4 for most of the time. I don't
Yep, half ounce
always seem to
all
have.
day with that white and chartreuse
Yeah,
skirt. Yep, and a Kitech fat
absolutely.
impact Kitech
Fast impact, Kitech.
fat impact.
Fat impact. Sorry, I said fast
Hmm.
there. All right. Somebody said 5-inch Yamamoto Cinco in black. That's a good one. I actually had that tied on this weekend. Never threw it. I probably should have. And then Eric says he said I'm doing the drop shaky head this weekend on Lanier for sure because he and I are doing Lanier on Saturday. So yeah, we'll be just know there's gonna be a video out there. It's like, look, we're trying it. We're gonna see what happens. We'll probably catch
Yeah,
the crap
I'm
out of it.
I'm I'm really I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out for
Hey,
you
I'm
guys.
gonna try. I'm serious. We're gonna try it. And then he said we're gonna call it the shaky drop. There you
Shake
go.
and drop.
There you go. And there's a good question, follow-up question to the shaky drop. Do you use the same worm on both hooks or do you change it up?
I use the same, but if I'm not getting bit on it, I will change the colors. And that's the good thing about it because you can alternate the colors and now you can see, okay, which one is actually working better. You get so much variation with that, and you can determine a lot just with that one little setup, and that's why I like it so much.
You know, but it makes perfect sense because I learned the jig and spoon technique from Bill Payne. He was a guest on the show at the Live Well show, and I was in studio for that one. And he does, the jig and spoon on the bottom, and then he ties his feathered treble about 18 inches up above that. So I started, and that's the only way I throw one now. Is it's got to have both on there because I'm thinking,
Okay.
what am I losing here? I'm getting the fish on the bottom, and I'm getting the fish on the top, and it's one
Right.
all silver blade, and then I've got the white feather up top. So it makes perfect sense. I just never put two and two together. I guess just the not thinking
And
about
I've
that.
never tried that technique, but I might need to.
I've got a. I can't remember if I did the video on the Fish North Georgia YouTube page. I think it was one of the Tackle Tip Tuesdays I did. Bill Payne talked about tying. Guys will do a Palomar knot, tying it on there. Well, I was getting a lot of break offs, so I bought the little three-way swivels. You can buy the Eagle Claws at Walmart. I bought three-way
Yeah.
swivels. I've got a leader going to the jig and spoon, and then I've got the feathered treble on a split ring on one of the other um, swivels, and then it just goes right in your
Okay.
main line. So you don't have to worry about that mouth of the bass hitting the line and tearing the line up as much. Because I was breaking off a good bit at Lanier, and of course those fish are a little bit different at Lanier. They're mean, ornery little fish, so they will break you off in a heartbeat. I'm pretty sure the first couple of fish I caught were striper because man, they were moving and they wasn't slowing down before they broke me off.
Oh
So
yeah,
that's what they
yeah.
were. Bass Fishing 336 says Japanese soft plastic companies don't even sell plastics unless they're capable of being rigged in multiple ways. Some use drop shot with a Ned rig. Okay. So and it makes sense. I mean, it really does make sense. I just don't think about that. I mean, I'm just old, just stuck in my old ways, I guess. So that makes perfect. And Eric said, he said, I'm already headed out to my boat to rig it now. So he's already ready for it. Big Al Speedshine, one of our fine sponsors, he says I only want to watch one Bigfoot episode. Okay. All righty. He says follow that up with the one they find him in. Yeah, there you go.
Right. That's the one I want to watch.
But they'll turn that into kind of like the what's that Oak Island? They'll turn into it'll be 17 years of them not finding Bigfoot. You'll every week they're telling you they found something else to find him with. So
Yep.
uh, and then Bass Fishing 336. So he likes to throw the 5-inch Kitech behind a 1-ounce Carolina rig. So and you said you like to throw a Carolina rig as well too.
Yeah.
So I tied one on this weekend. I threw it a couple times. I hate it. I don't like it.
Why?
I don't.
Why
I,
do you hate it?
it I'm in an 18-foot boat. I hate it because my partner probably hates it when I sling that big old off the side of the
Oh
eye.
yeah, because you got to cast it
Yeah.
a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've only got about an 18, 22-inch leader on there, but still I'm like, God, this thing. But if it's one of those things I think they'll bite, I will throw it, but it's just not one of those go-to rigs that I keep tied on all the time. It's just not want to keep out all the time for sure. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Silverpunk says it's not just the pictures. I think Bigfoot is just blurry. There we go. He may be. He may be. Just a blurry creature for sure. Um, and then Kent Goins brought up. He said nobody's asked you, do you forward facing sonar? And they're already talking about it. So do you use forward facing sonar?
More so just to determine if there's fish in the area, but I'm not staring at that screen. Like once I see that they're there, my eyes are off of it at that point. I'm
Yep.
not one that's gonna sit there. My neck starts to hurt when you do that. It's like, wait a minute, this is uncomfortable.
Right.
And I don't want to get stuck with, with relying on that technology. Like this past weekend was a prime example of that. I'm fishing a lake, an area never been to, never seen in my life other than just looking at the map prior to getting there. I was confident that I was going to be able to use my forward facing sonar. As soon as I dropped the trolling motor in the water, I'm getting this message on my screen saying sonar signal lost. And I'm like, what the heck is going on?
Right.
But I panicked a little bit, like a little bit, just because of the area that I was in. But I was like, you know what? We just got to get back to basics, old school techniques, looking at the water, trying to find good areas and fishing that way.
Right.
And I'll tell you, when I got home and I started troubleshooting it, soon as I turned it on, it's working.
Yeah.
And I was like, you
That'll
gotta
work.
be kidding me.
That's how it goes. That's exactly how it goes. But yeah, I mean, and we're all guilty. The folks that use it, we get you put it in the water. You're like, oh, I've got my sonar. Whether it's sonar or whether it's your mapping. Think about mapping. Even you turn on, it doesn't work. You're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then you realize, wait a minute, I still know how to fish. I still know how to
Right,
navigate. I still know how to navigate. I can still figure stuff out. It's not all is lost. And I'm guilty of doing the
right.
same thing. It's like, wait a minute, let me just do this. And we had it on during the tournament Saturday, and my buddy who's never ever used it was in the back of the boat. And he said, "You see anything up on that magical box?" I was like, "Dude, I'm not even really looking at it." I said, "We're
It sounds
we're
like my
fishing,
dad.
yeah, we're fishing spinner baits, we're fishing top water blow up stuff, we're fishing crankbaits, things like we're fishing pole markers. We're not even we don't need this crap. We just I've got it on
Yeah,
because it comes on when I put it in the water. So I mean, we just old school fishing. I mean, it's
yeah. When I
all
take my
boils down
dad
to
out, he's always, "You seeing anything on that screen? You
yeah,
seeing any fish on that thing?"
yeah, exactly. It's funny, for somebody like my buddy Keith, he's never even, I don't think he's ever seen it before. He's like, yeah, you don't understand. You really got to be up there with me. If I tell you they're there, it's great. But I mean, and I'll point them out. I was like, hey, they're right there. Throw it that bank right there. And it works
Yeah,
out sometimes. But the best view is up here watching it if you're gonna look, if you're gonna do the scoping thing. But like I said, it was nice not to really pay attention to it. I mean, like I said, had it on, but we were just fishing areas that just
right.
look good, kind of stuff for sure. Yeah, John, it was Marshall Stamps, Georgia Bassmaster. He's the one that gets a lot of hate on the rivers. Really good dude. It really always surprises me the hate that he gets because he is not a small individual. I mean, he's not a football player size, but he's like 6'2", 6'3". He's not somebody I would cuss out on the water for sure, but he gets a fair bit of it for some reason. So, um, and then Patricia Leanne Shaw wants to know, are you fishing the BFLs as a boater this year?
I am. Woo woo.
And, and you are in the South Carolina division, is that right?
Yes, South Carolina
And
division.
how is I got a twofold question here, multiple parts, I guess we'll say. Number one, what made you decide to choose the BFLs?
So, I really did not put a whole lot of thought into into which trail I would fish and what circuit I would join. Like I said, when I met Freddie, he was fishing the BFLs, local tournaments and stuff, and honestly, that was my first introduction to the competitive side of bass fishing. So you gotta think that I'm a girl well into her adult years, and I never even knew that tournament fishing, bass fishing existed.
Okay.
Okay. So everything that I've done, I mean, even to get in a ranger, it's just because of experience with him, because that's what I was comfortable with. I
Yeah.
did the started the BFL trail because he was doing the BFL trails. I started as a co-angler with that. And it's honestly a nice introduction into a different level, into the next level outside of the local tournaments that you're doing.
Yeah.
So um the only thing that was just a little bit intimidating about that is the fact that you don't know who you're going to be paired with. Um, and up until that point, I've always fished with him. If we fish tournaments together, it's been me and him fishing them together. And I always heard his stories about, about co-anglers or something that happens. So the do's
Right.
and the don'ts, I was already familiar with a lot of that before joining. So I was kind of prepping myself like maybe 2 years before I actually fished my first BFL.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing from him was more so like, okay, so how are you going to use the bathroom? Because you can't just drop it off and hang it off the side of the boat like you do
That's a
when
fair
we're
point.
together.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. So I had to come up with a discreet way to do that. Not just for him, but for myself as well, because
Right.
I am, a private person and I do like to be discreet with things. But it's definitely a good introduction into tournament fishing for anybody that's thinking about joining or wanting to fish on that level. And it exposes you to so much because you are being paired with different people. Now you're getting to learn different techniques and you're getting to see how other people fish. So as much as I enjoyed fishing with Freddie, seeing what others do, I was exposed to, some other techniques and other things, and it opened my eyes to a lot more than what I got from him. But because of the knowledge that I got from him, I was able to talk to these people intelligently. I was able to ask questions that actually made it look like I knew what I was talking about.
Hey,
And that I knew what I was doing. But if I had to do it all over again, I think I would do the same thing. If I'm, just new, wanting to get into tournament fishing and step outside of what you know and what you're comfortable with, it's the best route to take.
that makes sense. I mean, that's a really good. That really does say a lot because I started out when I got back in. I started right at the club at the local level. Excuse me, local. Well, it was sort of local level. It was a local level tournament on one lake, and I did it because I'm an introvert typically. Like I'm not the talkative guy. I did that because I'm like, you're going to go to this boat ramp and you're going to talk to every person that walks by you. And I made myself do that. I made myself talk to I mean, you know how guys are at the boat ramp. They walk by with they kind of get that
Yeah.
cow look on their face. But as soon as you start talking to them, they turn into just a regular guy that just, he just whatever. And maybe because I wasn't a threat, they talked to me, stuff like that. But I made myself go to those tournaments. So I don't know the BFL level. I looked into it, but I'm looking at it going, I don't know if I want to take my boat because it's an older Ranger. I mean, it's a great boat. But then I'm like, well, maybe I'll co-angle. Or no, I was going to go be a boater. I take it back. I was going to go be a boater. And I saw the thing was, well, if they don't have enough co-anglers show up, then it's a draw between the boaters of who gets to be a
Yeah.
co-angler. And I'm like, I don't want my boat sit at the ramp for 8 hours while I go fish on somebody else's boat. I just drug my boat all the way to do this. So that's the only reason I hadn't done the BFL thing was because of that. And obviously with forward facing sonar, the co-angler position kind of it started to drop off a little bit everywhere, and you started
Yeah.
seeing more boater draw stuff. So that was my only.
Yeah, and they changed, they've changed even over the past couple of years that I've been fishing. They've changed a little bit of the format, so they don't do boat on boat draws anymore.
Okay,
If you don't have enough co-anglers to fish, then you just missing out unless you bring somebody with you.
I got
Um,
you.
yeah, when you sign up, they actually prefer for you to sign up with the link because that
Yep,
guarantees your spot, that guarantees you a place. But if you're just randomly signing up and they don't have enough co-anglers, you're not going to do the boat on boat draw.
I got you.
They did stop that, and they've limited now. They've instead of allowing boaters all day for forward facing sonar, is limited to 3 hours
Correct.
now, and that's three
Correct.
consecutive hours. So whenever you start, it's 3 hours from that point.
I got you. That makes so they're trying to get along. They're trying to follow along lines with the MLF and stuff to kind of keep
Yeah.
if you decided to go up in ranks there. Makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
All right, next question. What is one technique specific thing that you learned being a co-angler from your boaters, and what's one non-specific, non-technique specific thing that you may have learned? I know that's kind of vague questions, but we always ask, well, what did you learn from watching your boaters? And some folks have like a really a depth, they in depth, like it was really I learned this about being a person, and then a technique. So if you got both, share with us about what you might have learned from some of the boaters you got paired with.
So when your experience, when you start out fishing, your experience and whoever you're fishing with, that's going to be your knowledge. So
Right.
one of the things, I was not familiar with flipping or pitching a jig or anything like that, and I remember being I think it was on Kerr Lake in the regional, and I got paired up with this guy, and he was like, if he saw a piece of grass sticking up from the bank, he was flipping that jig over there. And he was like, he said, if you feel anything,
Set the
set the
hook.
hook.
They are free. They are free.
He was like, he said, I don't care. He said, if you see a leaf sticking up out of that water, cast over there. He said, because
Yeah.
more than likely there's something that's hanging out over there. And I was like, okay. And I still it's not a technique that I use, but it is certainly something that I want to get comfortable with. And then the jerk bait. That's another one that I feel like should be in everybody's arsenal. Like, you should master that technique. If you don't do anything else, you should certainly know how to work a jerk bait.
I would absolutely agree with you. 110%. My favorite way to catch fish. One of my favorite ways to catch fish, for sure. So, was there anything specific that you learned from your boaters that maybe didn't relate to so much technique or anything that maybe you carry with you now that, and it can be anything from boat positioning to whatever that you just remember you learned that
Boat
one.
positioning, yes. And this is interesting because I learned this as a boater, like this year. And that just triggered something because the last tournament that I just fished, I fished with a boater
Hmm.
that has been fishing tournaments as a boater for a long time. But he actually he had an injury that occurred, and now he's just trying to make sure that he's okay. Didn't want to step back into the boater side and not really be 100% on his level.
Right.
And I learned a lot from him just about a boat positioning, especially like on a lake like Hartwell, where there's points and things like that. And he was like, "Okay, what you want to do is you want to pitch it if it's shallow up here, if it's 1 to 2 feet of water here, and you got to drop off. You want to position yourself in like 6 to 8 feet of water and cast up towards those points. That way, you're covering a lot more area. Try not to get so close to the bank when you're fishing top water like that." So that was something that I took in it, and it makes sense. Just when you're studying the area, and just when I was trolling around the area, and I was like, okay, I get it, I understand it, because you're gonna have fish roaming,
Yep.
and if they're roaming from that 1 to 2 feet out to that 6 to 8 feet range, and that could be this much, or it could be a long distance. But you're covering a lot when you position yourself farther away, so you can get those. You extend the opportunity for a catch.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
And I think that's something I still struggle with, boat positioning. Not always, but there's times where I look at where I'm at and going, why did I get so close? Or why did I put myself right here when I know that the potential for a catch is not as good there as it would have been had I been 20 foot further back or whatever. So
yeah.
that's a really good thing.
And even
Um,
with the wind, that's another thing. But before I became a boater, and I was like, okay, well, why we should face with the wind to our backs, and that would make my cast go a lot further. But if
right.
you're spot lock, your
Just turn you
trolling
around.
motor, it's going to turn you around. It's
Yep.
going to turn you around. And Freddie was trying to tell me that, but I wasn't really listening.
There's times where
Until I got,
it
and I was
plays.
like, okay, I get it now. It makes sense.
Yeah, there's still times where that plays to your favor, though. I mean, short pockets, stuff like that. The wind's blowing into it. My mind thinks, okay, I'm just gonna have to fight the wind with the troll motor because I know my cast needs to be there, and I think it still, I think it still works. But you're right, the wind, wind position, boat position, all that absolutely is something we could all, take, just a small lesson from and stop and think. Because I've heard the argument with the guys will say we want to throw with the wind blowing this way because that's the way the fish are going to be facing because they'll be feeding on the bait fish, da 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 da. And then I'm like, well, yeah, but if I'm facing this way and I'm catching fish, why would I face the other way to catch fish? I'm already catching them facing this way. So I think about it like that. All
Right.
right. So my next question with the BFL deal, what made you decide to be a boater? What was that deciding factor? You said, all right, now's the time.
So when I first started, my plan was to fish 2 years as a co-angler, just to get myself comfortable. One, um, I didn't want to be responsible. Like, if you're on the boat with me, I want you to catch fish. That
Right.
I really do. I want you to catch fish. And when I was first starting, just getting into bass fishing, just really hitting the tournament scene and fishing on that level, I said, you know what? Let me just do this couple years, learn as much as I can, take in that experience, and utilize that for when I'm ready. So year number 3 came up, and that was 2025. And I'd already purchased my boat. I think I'd already had my boat for like a year, and I was already
Mm-hmm.
fishing some local tournaments just to get familiar with maneuvering, and especially in different conditions with the wind, and if it's windy, and if you got white caps and all that stuff. But I saw the first tournament of that South Carolina division, and it was in January on Lake Murray. And I was like, absolutely not. I am not fishing as a boater. I want my hands in my pockets
So
with my gloves on. I don't want to be maneuvering the boat. And
yeah,
honestly, it seemed like every tournament was a reminder on why I should have went on and pushed the button and pulled the trigger to be a boater.
yeah.
The first tournament of that season, I got paired with a guy that had never, that was his second time on Lake Murray
Mm,
as a boater.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm talking about, we didn't catch nothing. He didn't get not one bite.
Mm.
I got one bite, I think, on a drop shot, and I pulled up a pair of draws with a crankbait.
Hey. caught a beer can this weekend on one. So yeah, there you go. I mean, it happened.
Yes.
That's
Um,
hilarious. Oh
the
my goodness.
one the Santee tournament, that was probably one that I had the most, that I had, that I learned a lot on, because I was paired with a local guy that knew the area, that does pretty well on that lake. So that was probably the best experience that I gained just from still being a co-angler that year. But every other tournament was just a reminder, besides the one that I actually had the flu on Hartwell.
No,
And
no.
yeah, that was just a terrible experience. But every other tournament was just a reminder. The other Murray tournament, I was paired with a guy that just jumped into the tournament
Yep.
because he was fishing another tournament that following weekend that was for, like, I think the first prize was like $10,000. So he didn't have any skin in the game at
He's just,
all.
yeah,
And I was sitting in pretty decent spot for as far as points was concerned, and he
yeah.
didn't care. You know what I mean? Like, he had one mission, and that was really just to find fish. And if I do well, then I do well. And then when he finally made the decision to, well, hey, let me see if I can get you something. It was like 30 minutes left in the tournament, and at this
I-
point, I'm like,
Don't be so generous, Mister. Don't be so generous.
yeah, like,
I mean, why are we starting now? So that brings up another good point though for folks thinking about the co. That would be my biggest drawback to being a co-angler, because let's say you're in your position where you're doing really well, you're in a points position or whatever the case. But we interviewed a guy a month or so back that he ended up winning the co-angler championship, and I'm like, your whole day is in the hands of another individual in a co-angler position. I mean, because they can
yeah,
be, the co-angler position can actually pay quite well or whatever, and huge accolades for it, depending on how you're treated from the front of the boat.
yeah, depending on how you treat it from the front.
I mean,
Absolutely.
that would, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth, but that would almost be for me like, no. I mean, I guess if you're in a position where that's the only position you're in, like you don't have the option for a boat, you just have to take what you get. But how sickening would that be to be doing well and then go, you get a guy up there's like, well, I hope you enjoy the back of the boat because we're gonna face inside pocket longer where you can't cast anything. I don't know.
Yeah, and I've had, when you get the parents, you get the parents on
Yeah.
Friday, like right after the tournament, and right after the meeting, rather,
Yep.
pre-tournament meeting. And you do the phone call. Normally it's the co-angler that's calling the boater just to get the details on where you're going to meet. Most of them will tell you how they're fishing, but I've had boaters that'll tell me, well, hey, I'm going to be scoping all day. I'm going to be scoping the entire day. The best advice I can give to you is to bring a drop shot or Carolina rig. And then it's like, if I can get my five, then we'll focus on helping you, get yours. And of course, it never works out like that. They never get their five.
Well, and just like any addict, at what point's your five good enough? You know what I'm saying? Because you're always going, well,
Yeah,
I can catch
right.
one more. One more will make sure I win it. There's always that
Yeah.
one more. So is that how I won't say defeated, but is that how you defeated that particular position of being backboated? Was the Carolina rig and the drop shot? Was that how you
Yep.
usually?
Carolina rig and a drop shot is a co-angler. It's like, if you don't take anything else with you as a
Yeah,
co-angler, have those two.
yeah,
You ain't gotta have nothing else, but have those two, especially with somebody that's scoping. Because if they're
yeah,
scoping fish, I mean, okay, yeah, they might be on a brush pile. You sitting in 100 feet of water, and they're sitting on the top of the trees or whatever. But they
right,
are also moving. If you're fishing, or if you got a swim bait or something, and you're pulling that back towards you, if a fish is chasing it, it's going to continue to chase it, and it's going to
right,
continue to chase it past the boat. So that's why the drop shot is decent. You do have to ask questions though. That's the biggest thing, is that you don't be afraid to ask them, hey, can you leave your graph on in the back so I can at least see the depth of the water? I don't need to see what you're looking at,
right.
but at least let me understand and let me know what the depth is. Me, I pay attention. If you're if you're looking at that graph while you're panning from left to right, I'm
Mm-hmm.
also looking at it
Mm-hmm.
because I'm picking up, okay, it's a brush pile over here, or
Yep.
there's something over here. And I know, okay, I'm going to cast over there. I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. And they'll tell you, some of them even tell you, well, hey, there's fish running underneath the boat. Put the drop shot down. Drop the
Yeah.
drop shot.
Yeah.
Of course, it ain't gonna work in 100 feet of water,
Right.
but
Well, that's true. I mean, I fished on the back of the boat with different folks, and I love it when hey, can we put the 2D on? I mean, because yeah, the forward facing thing fine, but I like fishing off 2D because guess what I'm seeing? I'm seeing exactly where the 2D's at. If I'm on the back of the boat, it's right there underneath my feet. So
yeah.
I'm basically fishing everything I'm seeing. So there's no question there for sure. And then Crankin, he made a comment. We were talking about earlier about showing what we're catching, showing where we're at. He said, I always reveal where I catch fish. I hope someone goes out there and catches them. And I don't, of course, he's out there at Cato, however you say that. You go out there and get lost, and you never be found again. Though, so
Oh
somebody's got to know how
Lord.
to somebody's got to know how to find you. Somebody's got to know how to find a spot on that kind of lake for sure. And then Eric says he's the same way. I love helping people catch fish. Honestly, my favorite is teaching some people to scope, even though I know it's not your favorite. And yeah, that's the thing is, I mean, it's teaching somebody, showing them how to do it. That's always fun. Um,
Yeah.
and then of course Cranking came back. Well, I hope you're showing them how to turn it off and enjoy the lake instead of that screen. There you go. Um, all right. Let's see. G4 Outdoors, what's up, buddy? And then Crankin says, Tony no one needs a fish for biting before four face insert eye roll here. Yeah, we know. I know. Nobody needs it. You're right.
He didn't put the eye roll on you.
Yeah, he didn't put the eye roll. He didn't put the emoji on there for sure. And then Big Al tells me that blazers lose value like crazy. That's interesting take there for sure. All right. And then Eric says he teaches them both ways, with and without the graph. And we both, I mean, like I said, I was fishing before forward facing sonar, still fish with it, without it, whatever's fine. Let's see here. I'm going through some of the other comments. And Eric, going back to your one bait you try, he said that's his favorite bait answer. Try the KVD sexy shad though, it's money. So
I'm
that's
I'm
another.
trying that now. I'm
Yeah.
working on that.
All right, this is a good question. Outside of South Carolina, what is your favorite lake to fish that you have traveled to?
Oh golly, bull shows in Arkansas.
Why was that one? What about that one? I've never been there. So what about that one was it made your favorite?
Well, one is probably the only lake that I've outside of Kerr. I fish Kerr Lake. That's in North Carolina. But Bull Shoals reminds me a lot of Hartwell. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the water clarity, it has a lot of streams and waterfalls and things of that nature. It's just a wide open space. I would just be mindful about going there between tornado season because you're you're
Yeah.
surrounded by mountains and you're probably not going to have a phone signal, and all you're going to hear is a siren that is your warning that okay, something is going on. But that is, I love that place, and I would certainly love to just take a trip there, not even for a tournament or anything, but it's just
Right.
a beautiful place to visit. Yeah.
I got you. Have you ever fished Lanier?
Never fish Lanier. Somebody actually mentioned that yesterday that I need to fish Lanier.
I'm watch as much footage as you can about Lanier, learn as much as you can about it, and go out there. If you can get on them, oh my word! And I will say this: we have on our other podcast, Live Well, one of our sponsors is Kevin Underwood, and he's lip sticker fishing. If you ever want just to go to Lanier and get on some fish with a good guide that will take you for the whole day, it's a fishing trip. It's not.
Okay.
He has a Patreon that he goes live once, twice a week. I don't know. Somebody in the chat help me out, but he will show. We talk about showing stuff. He shows everything on that Patreon,
Okay.
and you can take that and go back the next day and do the same thing he was doing, but he catches them. We call them megalodons. That's what he calls them, megalodons. It's he catches the absolute crap out of them, and it's for the money. You can't beat the to me. You can't beat the price for the experience you get.
Okay.
I fished a lake out in eastern Alabama called Wedowee. It's a deep, clear lake, spotted bass, but we don't have the herring. And the reason I got involved with the show is because a lot of that transfers, even though it's not the same size spotted bass. I had never seen spotted bass do what they do on Lanier. I'd never seen bass fight each other to get a lure and watch 5 and 6 pound spotted bass sit there at the boat while you're reeling in your 4 pounder or whatever. It's just
Oh my
it,
goodness. Okay.
it
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I
dumb.
definitely need to go there and get some of that.
Watch some of these guys that fish Lanier that put out videos on it. You got your your cast fish and stuff, that they do some stuff on Lanier. And I'm telling you, it's a we're going Saturday. He's like, it's supposed to rain. He's, I know you want some bad weather, because I want to fish Lanier in some bad weather, not terrible weather, but I want to fish it in some bad weather, because and they're on top water right now. I think it's going to be unreal this weekend. So I'm hoping anyway. All right, Eric wants to know, what electronics do you use? Mapping. What mapping is your favorite?
Um, so I would say that Lowrance is probably the mapping with Lowrance is my favorite. Although I don't have that. I have hummingbirds. I have birds on mine. I just installed Mega Live 2, and I got the new Explorer unit, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Um, it's comparable to Garmin. I can't say whether or not it's as good. I mean, Freddie has Garmin. I've seen his, he's seen mine, and he's like, that's pretty sharp. So it is, they've made a huge improvement from Megalive 1, because I had one.
Yeah.
And ML2 is a lot better. But the mapping, and then the only reason I say that, the mapping is critical. And I didn't realize how critical it was until I fished an area where, even though I have the Lake Master VX card, that particular area that I fish, it was the basic map. I couldn't see any contours or anything. And where I was they call it the Rocky Mount Reservoir in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're riding along, and the next thing you know, you're in like 1 to 2 feet of water.
Fun.
And I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I can't do this with this basic map. So
Yeah.
you know what? Let me just stick to fishing the banks.
Yeah. That's scary though. I mean, that
Yeah,
gets
and that is,
scary.
it's critical that you have good mapping, I don't know if it's the C map or whatever it is, but one of them I do know just gives you a lot more information on different waters, bodies of waters, than the other. Like, I know from personal experience that Humminbird, that Lake Mastercard, does not have everything.
Right. And I've got the Garmin, or the Navionics rather, excuse me. I've got the Navionics, which is owned by Garmin. I've got Navionics, and then Eric just he got the C Maps card for Gunnersville, and the C Maps will let you change some of the color shading on the fly. Where Navionics, you have to upload. I have to upload on my computer here, put it in my unit, and then I'm stuck with that overlay. I can't change the overlay. I
Yeah.
can't go with the color shade. But the C Maps you can run, and the Lowrance units, I can run a C Maps card in one slot, and I could run Navionics in the other slot, and have both maps on one unit. I don't have to change the
Okay.
unit. So I haven't done the C Maps yet, but he said, on Gunnersville, he said you can mark your 5 foot. We'll just use 5 foot depth. Right? You can mark it, and it color shades that whole area, so you're going to stay in that window of the bank. Or wherever you're
Yeah.
at. You don't have to. Where Navionics, you can't do that on the fly like that. Or
Yeah,
at
and
least
the
I have
Lake
it.
Mastercard gives you the same, like you can change your
Yep.
shading, you can adjust for different changes with the water, if the water level
Yep.
is up or if the water level is low. But those areas, those kind of remote and rural areas that may
Yep.
not be so popular, it would have been critical for me to have information on the Rocky Mount Reservoir.
Right.
But because I didn't, that certainly changed how I was going to fish the area that I actually wanted to go to. I was like, okay, I
Right.
can't trust it because I can't see anything, and I certainly didn't want to just put my way
Yeah.
down to that area.
It's like watching those guys on Bassmaster this weekend. I watched maybe 20 minutes of it, and I think they were showing from the day before. And Christie was in the back of a whatever he was in, and he had the motor trimmed all the way up, and it was like chocolate milk. He was turning it with a big motor. I'm like, I don't have that kind of
Yeah.
faith in anything as much as he's got the faith in that boat to get him out of that whatever he's sitting in, because it was like mud.
Right.
He was sitting at one point, the boat stopped. He had to goose it just to get it to keep going. I'm like, there's no way I would do that. And it's like, remind me not to buy that boat from that guy.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
and then Coleman Jones, one of our viewers, he said that's the death message for forward facing sonar. He's talking about your message that you got that was signal loss or whatever. He said that's the death message. So you might want to keep an eye on it. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it'd probably be beneficial for me just to give them a call and say, hey, this is what happened. But it was really strange that when I got home and checked everything out, and it was fine. It was
Yeah.
perfect. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Oh yeah. Now I have buddies that run Humminbird stuff, and they rave about their customer service as far as
Absolutely spot on.
Yep. They caught them
They
on the
are
water.
great.
Yeah, they caught them on the water, and they walked them through troubleshooting. And then if they couldn't get there, like, look, when you get back to land, box it up, send it to us, and they send them a new unit or whatever. I mean, I don't want to speak for Humminbird, but I've heard nothing but good stuff about their customer service.
Yeah, they are. I'm a witness to that because I was having issues with my ML1. Called
Yep.
them. They walked me through everything. I took pictures, sent it to them. They troubleshoot, sent me another one.
There you go. I
Just
mean,
like that. Like they stay on top of it. They follow up with you. Did you get everything? You're gonna get continuous contact until they close that ticket for you.
yeah. I mean, that's a good that and that's one of those things. When I was buying my trolling motor, I went with a Ghost, and I was literally standing there going Ghost or Quest, and I'm just trying to figure out which one I'm gonna go with. And one of the biggest factors I was looking at was customer service. Now, the only reason I didn't get the Humminbird, or the Minn Kota rather, was because they didn't have one at the time. I got the Lowrance. That's what they had in stock at the time. But that was one of my big. I told my wife that's one of the biggest things is that customers. I don't want to be a $4,000 trolling motor in here and go, well, sorry about your luck, and you got to go through 17 levels trying to get
Yeah.
through customer service to get
Right.
an answer. So then I bought the extended warranty and all that stuff. So now, of course, nothing, knock on wood, my trolling motor's been really good. So I'll keep it that way. But
Good.
the Minn Kota and Humminbird, I've heard that's one of the biggest selling points of it for me was that too. And
Yeah.
then Eric did say he would panic far worse without his mapping than he would without his forward facing. So I agree
Oh,
with you.
absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, that's the first thing I bought when I got my boat. It came with a Lowrance, older Lowrance on there, and it had an older graph. It showed depths and stuff but like you said, you get to some of these other, there was zero mapping because it was an older unit. There was no mapping for it, and I looked at my wife and said, I'm not going anywhere else without a good unit of mapping because I just
Yeah.
don't know it well enough. All right, Adam W. Fishing says, as far as the combo DS and shaky head rig, it seems to me like on Lanier the water is so clear and the fish so educated. Those types of tricks don't really work that good, like a donkey rig with two flukes. Okay, so he's giving us a little bit of juice. Like it may not work as well on Lanier because it is a clear water lake, so that we might
So
not be
how
able to
does it
trick.
compare as far as clarity? How does it compare to like Clark's Hill or Hartwell?
I've never fished Hartwell, never fished Clark's Hill, but I will say this: it is clear. Like I don't know if gin clear is the right word for it, but it is stupid. Like I watched. So Eric LaRue and I were fishing. It's been a guy, Eric, 2 months ago, and he stands up on the front of the boat and he goes, "Oh crap!" And his rod got hung in his glove or his sleeve and went over the side. Now we're talking about an expensive setup. He and I both dove over the side, not dove in the water, but reached. I'm watching this rod. My hand should have grabbed it, and it was nowhere. We were that quick, and I'm thinking 8-10 foot clarity at least. We watched that rod go all the way down. I was like, I think we could probably catch it if we could get something with treble hooks on it because it went. I mean, it was that clear. We were seeing it. So I don't know. Somebody in the comments may tell me that it's 15-foot clear, but I would at least say 6 to 8 foot at minimum clarity. So I don't know how Clark's
Yeah.
Hill or Hartwell are, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
clear.
yeah, I wish I if there's somebody in the comments that knows, but it does that drop shot shaky. It does really good on Hartwell and it does really well on Clark's Hill. And
Yeah,
they are a lot clearer than Santee is for
yeah,
sure. I do like I don't use the traditional drop shot hook. I like to use the one with the little offset on it.
yep.
So I rig it like it's weedless.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I will say that I have seen times on Lanier where the fish were dumb and would bite just about anything through there. But I have been out. So we did the Toys for Tots tournament, and I'm not allowed to say what we used, but let me put it this way: it was not a scoping bait that we used, and we caught 22 pounds that day. Um, I went back the next weekend through the exact same bait, and I watched the fish on my forward facing chase said bait and never touch it.
And
And
never
I'm like,
touch it.
they would chase it and run away. It's like they could see it hit the water, and they would run after it, but they would never once it got
Yeah.
close to them, they would peel off and go the other way. And then I've been out there and seen where you throw something conventional, and as soon as it touches the water, they're blasting out of there. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of pressure on Lanier. Like it gets a ton of pressure. So
Yeah.
um, all right. Our sponsor, Big Al Speed Shine, wants to know. Have a question. What do you wipe your boat with? Hand covering eyes is what he's looking at. So Big Al Speed Shine. I don't have Big Al. I don't have the actual Speed Shine up here. I've got the wash. I've got the I've got the Berry Bubble washing wax up here today because the Speed Shine was in the garage cleaning the
So
boat up.
I might need to try something else. Like for I've been using what is it? The hot sauce.
Yeah,
I think it's boat bling
yep.
that I've been using. It was something that I introduced, like the gentleman that I bought the boat from. That's
Yeah.
what he was using. I was impressed with it. I liked it, and I just stuck with it. But I've been
Listen,
looking at some other stuff, and I'm like, some of this other stuff, you might want to give it a try.
listen. I know he's a show sponsor. He and I have been friends for a long time, about a year or so now. I found him on TikTok. I was watching TikTok one day, and he was at the East Tennessee Boat Show. This was last year, and he was wiping down brand new bullets with it. And I said to myself, I used to work in the car industry, I used to paint cars. I said, they don't just let you wipe down brand new boats with anything. So I messaged him. I said, hey, they're letting you wipe down brand new boats. I need to try a bottle because I like stuff to shine. So
Yeah.
I bought a bottle, and it is the best boat shine on the market. He
Okay, I need to get some of that
he
then.
won't he won't compare it to nobody else. He won't talk bad about anybody else's product. I'll tell you that right now. That's one thing about Alan. He will not talk bad about anybody else's product. But if it's meant to shine, that stuff, well, I don't have the shine up here with me. It will shine it up. And there is one caveat, and if he's still in this chat, he'll tell you once you put it on, don't step on there with wet feet because you're
Oh
gonna take
Lord.
you're gonna take a ride. But I've still got my original bottle. Now I'm in construction, so I don't wash my truck as much as I used to. I don't wash it often because I'm always getting it dirty again. And my boat, it's a simple wipe on, wipe off. I've still got my original bottle from a year ago because it doesn't. Once you if you maintain your boat well, like I
Hmm.
do a wash wax compound every year to keep it really shiny, and then I put the Big Al's on there every time I get off the water. I'm telling you, it is some good stuff, and it lasts a long time. And you're talking,
Okay.
I don't know what price a bottle is now anymore, but let's say $25. I've used a $125 bottle for a year. Now that's obviously that's not the norm, but I do it. I use it on my truck. If we've got the cleaner, it's downstairs. The cleaner that he just came out with, and we've done everything with it. And I'm just going. I know it's kind of a big house sponsor show spot right here. That stuff we've cleaned everything, tennis shoes to doggone furniture outside.
Really?
It's some good cleaner too. So check out
What about
big.
white
Seriously,
sneakers?
I'm sorry.
White sneakers. Is it
Yes,
gonna clean some white?
yes, ma'am. I wear Brooks white tennis shoes to work every day, and I work in construction. And I just dropped my this before I come up the show. I was like, "Hey, can we throw these in some Big Al's before I go upstairs?" And she's like, "Yep, we'll do it. It will definitely clean some shoes up."
Okay.
But he made it to clean like boat seats. You know how pontoons get that black mold, mildew stuff
Yeah.
on it? That's what he came out with it, but it works on a lot of stuff. Anyway,
Okay.
that's enough about Big Al. Sorry, Big Al. That was a good little sponsor spot there. But
I'm gonna have to
you can
check you out, Big Al. I have to
try it
check
out.
you out.
Mike Porter, he uses it. We've got a lot of the guys from Rod Benders use it. We all met up at the Noe show last year, and they all got a bottle of it, and they like it too. So, all right, we got some technical questions about your shaky drop or drop shaky, whatever we call it here.
Okay.
All right, what is the distance from the shaky head to the drop shot hook? I want to try it, and that's from Team Turner 81.
Okay. So normally I'll go anywhere from like 8 to 12 inches from the shaky
Okay,
head.
okay, there you go. Good job. And then Bottom Line Outdoor said he just got a Bass Cat Puma STS going out next week. Well, there you go. Kind of jealous of that.
Nice.
That's a nice one. Yeah.
Yep.
I've been eyeballing the Bass Cats too. That's another one. I'm like, I know a bunch of guys that have them and they like them, and yeah, that's another one. Um, Tom Rico says I love the marina, so I would put my winnings to own a marina. Okay, I don't know what that was about. I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
we're further back. We're about 30 minutes away from that comment, so I've probably lost everything we're thinking of there. Um, uh, okay, Patricia Leanne Shaw wants to know, how did you make it to the regional?
um, the biggest thing with the regional is catching fish. If you can manage to catch even one, in every tournament as a co-angler, you're almost guaranteed to make it. But they do take, I think it's the top 45 in rankings. Um, you can be in 50th or even 60th place because not everybody that they call to invite to the regionals is actually going to accept that and sign up to fish the regional. So they
Okay.
oftentimes go beyond that top 45 number, but you normally have to be in that top 45 for it to be guaranteed for you to get a spot.
Okay.
But number one thing is catching fish, showing up and catch. If you catch at least one, you're going to be set
Right.
and
Yeah.
fish and try to fish every tournament because you get points just for fishing the tournament.
Just for showing up. That
Yep.
makes sense. That makes sense. Um, and of course, my wife's in here watching, so she's like, "Say that out loud." She's talking about cranking Yankees comment about you can catch him out of a tracker or a Ranger or whatever. Say that so my husband can hear that again about the boat. Yeah, I know. I know. I know. I started off with a 91. Come on, I'm doing it. I'm doing it the right way. All right, we answered that question about Lanier. Captain Morgan said he just joined not long ago, and he wants to know what's your home lake. Just we're gonna give
Home
it to him one
Lake
more time.
is Lake Marion and Lake Marion. I'm not claiming Lake Mutra because I don't really know. I fished it a couple of times, but Lake Marion is the home. But you'll hear people often refer to it as Santee Cooper Lakes because they're combining both. But I'm much closer to Lake Marion.
Right. Uh, cranking yanking. Cranking says mega lie too. Mega lie too.
That no, don't do that. Mega Live 2 is the truth.
Uh, and, then, and then Eric answered your question a minute ago. There's times where you can see 20 foot deep on Lanier, and I would agree that 20 foot deep is probably, and especially like right now where we've not had the rain. I imagine it
Hmm.
probably is 20 foot deep. Um, Hartwell and Lanier are definitely more similar than uh, Clark Hill clarity wise. So
Okay.
there's that answer to that question.
Okay. So
Hart,
the drop shot shaky just might work because Hartwell, they seem to really like it there.
there you
Those
go.
spotted bass.
And Hartwell's clear like Lanier. Speed shine. Yep. Eric says speed shine's better than the hot sauce. And it smells great. So it smells like cherries. So I, I wiped my boat down on last week, whatever day it was last week, Sunday. Put it in the garage, and 2-3 days later, I walk out my garage and it still smells like cherries. I'm like, man, it smells good out here. So
Oh, see, yeah,
yeah.
let's
Uh,
do it.
vehicles. All right. Eric's got another question. What lake do you hate to fish?
um, there isn't. So right now, I'm kind of I'm in my feelings about Lake Murray. I don't hate to fish it because it's a really it's beautiful out there,
Yeah.
but I I didn't do so well in the first tournament of this season, and I got some payback that I got to give to Lake Murray. Like we just on opposite ends right now, and I'm not liking her, and she obviously did not like me
Yeah.
on tournament day. But there's not one that I just absolutely hate.
Okay.
Everyone that I fished so far has been one of the places where I'm like, okay, I really like this place.
I got you. And we got a couple of guys in comments talking about Lake Weiss or Weiss Lake as it's called. But that's the one. And then of course Big Al says he loves it over there. I'm a Weiss Lake guy. Like that's the one lake. If I never went back again, it wouldn't hurt my feelings. I mean, I don't hate it.
Hmm.
I just don't know it well enough. But it's also
Yeah.
one of those, it's not a santee by any means, but it's one of those lakes like you can be running and think you're in 20 foot of water and it turn into a foot of water and you don't if you don't have good mapping, it will catch you quick.
And that's
So
what I was getting ready to go back and say. The one I just fished, the one
yeah,
I just fished Saturday is it's the one that I hate.
yeah,
But it
exactly.
was for a good cause. I
Yeah.
would say that.
And then Crankin's calling you out a little bit. He said, I've not heard you say a wacky rig. Junebug wacky is gold. So you hadn't said anything about a wacky rig. Do you fish a wacky rig at all?
Periodically, periodically, I will around some cypress trees, and now is the time for that. So yeah, or even skipping it up on the docks.
Yep. So out there where he's at again, it's all the cypress trees or whatever he's got out there. It's a lot of that. I'm not a wacky rig guy either, but not I don't hate it. I do tie it on and I do use it. I'm just not. I don't know if I don't just have patience for it sometimes. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
but one my God, one year now I did like it was my favorite thing to do this one time because I had a wacky setup and I don't know what made me put I put a 16th ounce nail weight with the
Nico.
uh on the end of it.
Yep.
and oh my God, they tore it up on Lake Murray.
Now, Nico, I'll fish with the nail weight inside the head of the wacky rig style. I'll fish it, no problem. It's just that doggone waiting, eating a sandwich, waiting for the worm to get to the bottom drives me batty. So, but
It just takes forever to do what it's doing,
yeah,
and maybe that's the joy of it. But you also realize that every every vendor or every brand is not the same. Like
that's
some of
100%
them,
right.
I mean, I'm talking about, it's like watching sap
No,
run down a tree.
yes,
It's so
ma'am.
slow, and I'm like, I can't stand this. No.
I I got some stick baits, and I won't name the company, and they got some good weight to them, and I throw them out there, and I'm like, I never make it to the bottom, like it never go. I'm thinking I've sat there for 20, 30, and I'm like, so I start working it, and the next thing I know, it's on top of the water coming at me. I'm going,
Yeah.
so I know I need to go buy some Cincos. Like they're just expensive and they're soft, but I need to go buy the Cincos and do it right for sure. And then
Yeah.
and Crankin did say put a weight on it. He's 100% right. I've got some. My buddy Jim made me some weighted wacky rig, weights hooks. So I've got some of those. But I was just going to ask him because his one of his comments said he said I can't put it down. I have 5 rods in the boat and all I throw is the wacky. And I was going to ask him, Crankin, give me a little bit of advice because I know it
Yeah.
works. How are
Let's
you
hear it.
rigging? What are your 5 setups? Tell me your 5 setups. Like, is it weighted, unweighted, colors? Give me some because I've been throwing it here lately, and I know the first thing I got wrong is the worm I'm using because it is terrible. Like it does not. I think it floats, and I just wasn't paying attention to it honestly. So give us your 5 setups. And then Captain Morgan wants to know: do you ever do any catfishing on Marion? Encounters with gators? Question
No,
mark.
I the only time I catfishing, if I catch one, is by accident. I actually thought I had a world record bass. Like for real. I'm talking about, I was out there, I cast that rattle trap out there, and I was fishing it, reeling it back, and I got this hit, and I'm like, oh my God. This is the biggest bass in the country. Got it close to the boat, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Got darn catfish.
There you go. It happens. It does happen.
Yep.
And
And it's
it's always something like a rattle trap. Like you never would expect a catfish to hit it.
mm-hmm.
Like that's what they hit, and
Yeah,
it's always
that's exactly what they hit. And one day we were out, we had worms. We had red worms. We were fishing for brim and shell cracker. And one got his, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. And as soon as he started digging, we knew exactly what it was. We fought that thing, I'm talking about, for a long time. It was
mm-hmm.
almost to the point where you just wanted to cut it off, but we wanted to see it. We wanted
Yeah,
to see how big it was.
right.
And it's like, okay, don't put it in my boat with all that slime on it and all this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Don't bring it in the boat if we can help it. All right. Patricia Leanne Shaw wants to know: have you ever fished Russell, Lake
I
Russell?
have not. That's another one that's on my list.
It's a that's another. I'm gonna get to that side of town one day and
Has
fish
she
all
fished
over.
Russell?
I'm sure. I'm sure she has.
Okay.
Probably so. And then Captain Morgan said he loves Russell personally. All right. Eric's got a great question. What are some personal goals for the next couple of years fishing, if you'll say them, ma'am?
Um. So I'm not sure if I'll step out into, go to the next level with MLF, and that would be Toyota, fishing the Toyota series, or whether I'm
Yep.
going to stick with the BFLs. Um, Next couple years, like right now, one of my goals was, well, last year my goal was to fish the opens
Yep.
before they changed the format. Like I was all about, okay, I can jump on somebody's boat, I can be a co-angler in the opens. And then they changed the format, so they got rid of the co-anglers. And one of my goals is to fish an opens tournament. I may not do the whole division, which I'm not doing, but I am getting opportunity. I am going to fish Lake Norman, that's coming up the end of this month
Right.
for the opens. Um, Whether or not I want to go beyond that, to where, I want to try to qualify as an EQ angler or anything like that. It's a mixed bag for me because I work a full-time job. I know that side of the game is probably, it's a lot that goes into it that I'm not even imagining. And I'm comfortable with my 9 to 5, with my way of living and fishing tournaments
Right.
when I can, versus it being actually how I make a living. But my main goal right now for where I stand is to establish um a to really get people more involved on a local level. You know, when I think about where I'm from in the urban area and how long it took for me to understand that there's different levels of fishing, that like it goes beyond just bank fishing or from a roadside ditch, which ain't nothing wrong with it at
Right.
all. That's but I do believe that our children and our youth need to be exposed to a lot more
Right.
than what they see. So I want to do like an annual fishing event in my area in Clarendon County where we get kids. I want to have some sponsors and some people that can get behind that to help me pull that off. And I want to make it something that I do yearly to, just to get kids from doing something other than the wrong thing. If you
Right.
expose them to a lot more things that gets them outside and that that helps with their patience, their their community, feeling like you got people, other people behind you and other people supporting
Right.
you, because you're only going to know as much as what you're exposed to.
You're
So
you're
that
100%
if I
right.
had to say one thing, that's my main goal, is to widen the exposure and get more people involved with the outdoors.
I think that's a great goal. I mean, that's I mean, a lot of folks would answer that. Well, I want to do X, Y, Z, and you started saying that, and then you were like, but my main goal is this, and I think that's
Yeah,
really that says a lot about you as a person, because it's not about you at that point. It's not about your career. It's about helping somebody else. I mean,
right.
that's a huge statement to anybody looking for somebody to look up to, I guess is what I'm saying. Because I like that answer, because it's something that I've thought about doing, but then I was a police officer for a while, and then I start going, okay, well, how many legalities am I involved in? As far as you start worrying about insurance and stuff, you're going, okay, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. Because but we have a fish roundup out here, at one of the lakes I'm near, and it draws a huge crowd, and I cannot wait. I think my granddaughter might be old enough this year to take her down there, and they stock it with catfish in the corner. And of course,
Yeah.
they'll catch the catfish, and I guess some big carp get in there somehow. And they catch, like, one kid caught a 40-pound carp or something. It was
Oh God.
some ridiculously sized carp last year. But they give them fishing poles and stuff like that. And like you said, though, it exposes them to. And then of course I wonder if I'm exposing them to the right thing, because I know how expensive fishing gets. It's like,
Yeah.
am I
That
teaching them the
part.
right habit at this point? But no, I'm joking, obviously. But I think that's a really great answer. That's a great answer to a good question there. Um, you know that, and I was going to ask you, if you want to say, you don't have to, what do you do for a 9 to 5 job? Because I know what it is. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, so I'm an engineering manager for Eaton Corporation. I've been employed with them for 18, 19 years now.
Oh wow.
um I support standardization between, and I'm in El Paso, Texas right now, so that's why I'm here, but I support engineering standard practices between the plant in El Paso and the one in Sumter, South Carolina.
So you have your degree as an electrical engineer, am I
Electrical
correct?
engineer, yeah.
Lots of respect. Lots of respect.
Thank you.
Uh,
It took
my
a lot of dedication to get that degree,
Oh
because
yeah.
I'm talking about I worked. I didn't do I started the traditional route where I went to college right after high school,
Yep.
and I left after the first trimester. I was enrolled at DeVry in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
I came back home because I thought that that was just too much money for my parents to be spending. I have two younger sisters, and if you ask my dad, though, my dad will tell you that I came back for a boy, which is not true.
That's
That is
dads.
absolutely not the truth. I was trying to look out for them and make sure that they still have money to spend on my younger siblings. So
Right.
I came back home and got a full-time job. And when I started working with I think it was Bosch at no, it was Bendix at the time, and they had a tuition reimbursement program. So I quickly enrolled, got myself back into school, and utilized the tuition reimbursement program. So I worked full time. I took a job as an admin assistant just so I can have some flexibility with going traveling to school, because After 2 years, I could no longer go to the local 2 year college. I had to
Right.
transfer to Columbia, which is an hour drive away from where I live. So I had to take a position as an admin assistant because I was going to Columbia in the mornings for classes. And it was either 2 or 3 days out of the week when I had to go back in the afternoon for labs for engineering. So
Right.
I was, I mean, it's days now when I think, when even then on that drive, where I couldn't remember passing anything. I couldn't remember landmarks. I couldn't remember anything. And that's a scary feeling
Oh
because
yeah.
you don't know if you're just that accustomed to it or whether you just zoned out.
Right.
And when I graduated, I didn't go to Columbia for like 2 years. I didn't want to see that road. I didn't want nothing to do with it.
I can understand that. I can, but and when I say it seriously, my background was avionics, electronics in the Marine Corps, eye level stuff, and I knew several guys that ended up getting their electrical engineer degree, and it's like the electrical engineering degree is the degree that engineers look up to. I think personally, because that's a hard. I mean, that's a hard one to get. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't hear a lot of. I mean, I at least don't know a whole lot of them. So that's a lot of props. That when I read that, I was like, that's pretty impressive. I mean, that's a hard
Yeah,
degree to
thank
get.
you. Yeah, we
You,
started out with hundreds of people in our class, and when we graduated, we might have had 10.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I can only imagine what it gets down to in that, because when we were doing our classes, we were doing math problems that take up whole sheets, 2 sheets of paper, and I'm like, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. Not like that. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't a degree. It was just training stuff. So, um, we got some other. I'm gonna get some other questions here in a minute, but obviously you're a female angler in the sport, and this is one of the things I wanted to bring up tonight. We're kind of getting towards the end of the show, and I want to make sure we touched on it as well. Um, One of the questions, because obviously reading the article on Bassmaster, you touched on a few things in there about the leagues and things like that. Have you experienced any negativity as far as you being a female in the sport that you can remember, and how did you overcome it if you did, or has it been pretty open arms and people pretty accepting of it?
Yeah, it's for me, it's been open arms.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been open arms, and I would say, even in the article I mentioned, how intimidating it was, coming in as a female angler and realizing that, okay, this is predominantly a male dominated sport. There's women in it, but there's not a lot of us that's in it. And I was worried, like worried to death that I would not be accepted, that people would not help me. And the first tournament, I had the nicest guy, and he talked to me. He got a little bit about my background, and we just started off on good terms, and that set the precedent. And I was like, okay, if everybody is like this or better than this guy, I'm gonna have. And it got better every tournament, every single tournament. And my biggest thing with fishing as a co-angler with MLF, when I make that call to my boater, I'm like, I'm trying to be positive. I'm smiling when I talk to them because I
Right.
want it to come through. Like, my main goal is to make sure that we have a good time. And
Right.
whatever you need me to do, I'm gonna do it. If you don't want me to net your fish, then say you don't want me to net your fish.
Right.
Early in the morning, tournament morning, I'm giving you that courtesy gas money right up front. I don't even care how
Right.
well I do. I'm not waiting until the end of the day to give that to you. I'm giving that to you because I want to get that off my conscience, because
There
I
you
don't
go.
want to be thinking that, okay, you did this or you did that because I didn't give you any money. I
Right.
want that to be free and clear, and I want to start off on good terms with you. And it's been good. I mean, I knock on wood that I've not had those experiences. I've heard stories from other women in
Yeah.
the industry, but I personally have not. I mean, the most hate that I get is from Facebook.
Really.
Comments on things like on my posts on Facebook. And I wasn't getting that in the past, but now I'm starting to get like so many just disrespectful comments and things that, in my opinion, why did you even think about this before you even wrote this? Like,
Right.
BFL, for example, I posted that, okay, I'm fishing my first major league fishing BFL as a boater. One of the comments, somebody said, wow, they got to have their own league too. So
Oh my
I played
gosh.
I played
Come on.
ignorant to it. I
Yeah.
played ignorant to the comment, but I knew exactly what they were talking about, and I was like, what do you mean?" And they was like, "BFL, Black Fishing League," and I was like, "Okay, first of all, let me educate you. BFL is Bass Fishing League." And
Wait.
even after making that clear, their reply back to that was still, "Yeah, you're racist because you would have a problem if it was WFL, White
Oh my
Fishing
god.
League." And I was like,
So
okay.
I will tell you this, not to take away from your story. I think a lot of the Facebook kind, I could be wrong. There may be somebody that corrects me 100 ways, but I have seen where I think a lot of the comments you see like that are actually bots, because I have argued with somebody, and being in law enforcement, using certain keywords, and I would get the response back. I'm going, either A, they're
Hmm.
not capable of reading, or they have zero comprehension skills, or this is an automated, like an AI type bot that's used to make comments, because it makes zero, like, even like you said, after you explain it to them, they're like, yeah, well, you're just right. No, that's almost like a bot response, I think. And I don't know if
Yeah.
they I don't know if they're built. I really don't know if it's like some
But
kind of,
I
yeah.
would say that they probably, like, somebody still had to key in something,
You're
like,
you're right.
even
You're
for
right.
a bot to respond that
You're
way, like,
right.
wow, they even got to have their own league.
Yep. You're
And
right.
I could have took that so many different ways.
Right.
But you just have to get to the point. I start ignoring them, or either I'll just start hiding those comments
Yeah.
that I feel are offensive or that are negative, because I don't want that type of energy on my page.
Well, so one of the first videos I posted on Facebook, before I realized that you could be monetized on Facebook, I didn't know what was going on. I stupidly put it on my personal page, and just started sharing all my fishing catches. Anyway, I've been called everything under the sun, fat, whatever, whatever. I don't care. They don't know me from Adam's or what I've done. But anyway, I was I was seeing, I'm going, I started getting all these thousands of comments coming through. And I'm like, oh, and then I get monetized, right? And so there's a lady that I follow on TikTok, and she said, 2 days, 2 days, only read the comments from your post for 2 days, and never look in the hidden comments. And I was like, so that's just for TikTok. Don't ever look in the unfolded comments, because number one, like, the negativity's there. And number two, 2 days. That's all you give your energy to, those comments, is 2 days worth. After that, don't
Mm.
respond, don't like, don't, just keep scrolling. And I had to learn, because I like to think that I'm kind of witty at times. So I would go into these comments, and I would come back with some snarky, witty response. And then I would catch myself 20 and 30 minutes invested into a conversation with somebody that I'll never meet. They'll never meet
Yep.
me, and we'll never share a meal. We'll never share a drink, nothing together. I'm like, this is a waste of energy. Now I just like
Yeah.
it. Now I just like it, because you know what? You're getting me paid every time you make a stupid comment, and
Yeah.
you want to be ugly. Now I will go hide some comments. Like, I'm a moderator for the Fish North Georgia group. I'll hide comments there if they're out of pocket. If on my
Yeah.
page, if they get to something where they're making fun of somebody, whether it be uh, sexual orientation, race, creed, whatever, I'll hide stuff like that, because I don't, like you said. I mean, I don't want somebody's kid getting on Tony Collin fishing page and going,
Right.
well,
Exactly.
why did he let that comment slide through? But
Right. Yep.
I told him, I told Danny and them at the shop, when I first started getting more stuff going on the page. Facebook is, everybody talks about TikTok or this, that. Facebook people are ruthless. They are some
Yes.
ruthless people on there. If you get your feelings hurt, don't post it on Facebook public. I'm
Don't
gonna tell
post it
you,
on Facebook, right?
because they get ruthless in a heartbeat. Well,
And I'm
anyway,
talking about, I'll be ready to clap back too. I'm like, no, he didn't. Like,
you
what?
I, I decided one day that I'm just going to save it for when I'm in person with somebody. That, because if I'm using all my good stuff on somebody I'll never meet, I'm never going to get to use it on somebody in person. So I just decided to quit. I mean, I was spending hours on stuff, and I'm like, this is dumb. I quit. I just quit doing it altogether. Now it's like, keep on scrolling. Um,
Yep.
anyway, well, I'm glad that you got met with positivity in the league, because that says a lot. And my follow up question to that, not really follow up question to that, but you said something a minute ago. What would be your biggest piece of advice to a young lady wanting to get into fishing competitively? And if you go back and talk to your previous self, 2018, whenever it was you first started fishing competitive, what would you go back and tell yourself, like a pep talk? What would you say to get that person, get them past that point of worry?
Um, Going back, so the one thing that got in my way was the thinking that I'm going to be in their way instead of just focusing on fishing. If fishing is something that you love to do and tournament fishing is that next goal for you, there's a bunch of YouTube videos that you can watch. My advice, if you haven't done any of the local team trails, pair yourself up with somebody that's from your area. More than likely, there's always somebody there. If it's not a significant other, because those groups are very welcoming, and they want to show, they want to help you, they want to coach you. So don't be so intimidated by the fact that it's a male dominated sport. The men that I've met in the industry have been very welcoming. I've not had any bad experiences on the water. And fish to your strengths. If your goal is to learn, let it be known. Be vocal about your expectations and be respectful
Yeah,
of others. Treat people like how you want to be treated, and everything will be fine after that. But definitely, try to learn the do's and the don'ts.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Understand, read the rules. If nothing else, understand the rules. That way you're not being guided by somebody that may not know what they're talking about. If you know
That's
the rules yourself,
that's a
then
good
yeah.
point. That's a
And
good
then
point.
always pay attention to the text messages. When the text message tell you to be back by 3:30,
Yeah, that's a good point too.
be
Got
back by 3:30, because I got caught like that one time.
Yeah, I think it's happened to all of us. I mean, especially if you change time zones at all, you end up getting caught
Yeah,
in something stupid like that. But I like that know the rules because you know, you could be guilty by association if you're letting somebody read the rule book for you and you don't even know you're
right.
breaking the rule. So that's a good.
Yep,
I mean,
absolutely.
we've heard it not long ago where a co-angler turned somebody in for doing something like, hey, they were doing, and I don't remember where it was at, what it was doing, but they were like, hey, they did something they shouldn't have done. And I
Yeah,
mean, you like you said, if you got to take that polygraph at the end of that tournament, you don't want to be the one getting failing a polygraph because you saw
right,
something and didn't do it right. Um,
right.
and Patricia Leanne Shaw says making a regional is not easy to do. You go, girl. So there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
And Patricia's a regular on all the shows. She watches the lunch break, the regular shows, nights, all of them. So she's
Well, I'm sitting
one of our regulars.
18th right now, and as a boater.
That's really good.
So
That's
yeah,
really
so
good.
I'm praying that I keep this momentum up. I mean, we got Clarks Hill coming up in June, so that's
Yeah.
the next one.
I hope you go out there and get it. Um, Cranking and yanking. He goes, I like to see kids on the water, but someone needs to teach them some etiquette on the water before they turn them loose. Some do's and don'ts. And I think you just covered that,
Yes.
basically going back and saying that they can take that advice for whether it's female, male, kids, or older adults for that matter.
Yeah.
I have been run over by many older adults as I have, and I say older meaning my age, whatever, than I have kids. But you're 100% right, Cranky Yank, and I agree with that 110%.
Yep. I agree.
Um, Let me ask you this question. It's just per my personal question, whatever. What is your rule if you see somebody fishing on the water? You both come around a point or whatever, and you're in the same pocket. How far do you give that boater? What kind of leeway do you give a boater? Mine, I say 100 yards. I'm like, if I want to, I peel off. I'm the guy that'll peel away. I'll leave them there. What do you have a rule for that at all? Just curious.
I'll peel away too. I mean, I just because I don't want to I don't want to be questioning, okay, who's there first.
Yeah.
I'll just go, and I'll just, okay,
Yep.
go around. Um, I honestly, but honest, this past weekend, I not no 2 weeks ago, whenever we fished the last tournament, I can't remember, but I did something that I did, like, I felt so bad about it, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't think these guys were in the tournament, but they were fishing a bank that I was coming around this bridge, and my plan was to go and start fishing the bank and go around into this cove. Well, they went and they started fishing the bank, and the advice that I was given was, well, hey, just go around them. And I hesitated at first because I wanted to fish here a little bit longer where I was, but I eventually did that. And when I tell you, like, I felt like crap when I did it, because they were going in that direction, and just me. I'm like, man, that was probably not the right thing to do. I mean, we didn't catch a fish in that area, and
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they still got. They ended up leaving a little bit after that, but I will not do that again. If I see somebody, if it looks like you're heading that way, I'm not going to cut you off no matter how much. I don't care if it's 200 yards or whatever. If it
Yeah.
looks like that's the direction you want to fish and you were already there, I'm going to let you have it and I'm going to go find something else.
Well, I mean, I did something similar this weekend. We started off in a pocket, and we were the first people in this pocket. Now it's a little bit bigger. It's not a huge pocket, but it's got anyway. And the fish started blowing up on a point inside the pocket. This boat had already come in, and they were going to. I would say they were looking for bed and fish. The fish are blowing up on the pocket. My buddy's like, go to the point. I was like, man, we're cutting them off. He goes, they're over there. You're not. You're there first. And he was like, so I trolled over. I'm like, okay, don't throw anything at me. They were strictly bed fishing. They didn't care if we were on that. We caught fish
Okay.
on that point, and they never even looked up at us. They weren't. They could. I mean, they nosed their boat all the way into the bank, and were literally looking straight down at these fish, trying to get them to bite. So,
Yeah.
um, I felt
Next
bad,
time I'll
but
just ask though. I think
yeah,
before I do that, if I'm going to do that, I was like, hey, are you planning to fish this whole area? Just to ask a
right.
question, and I think that would have eased my mind. But I did feel bad after it.
There you go. And I understand that. I mean, I've had guys do what you're talking about doing, go right around me and throw in the brush pile that I was fishing, and I'm like, I just looked at him. I'm like, really? After I
Yeah,
caught a
like
fish, and I'm like, come on, we call it the Alabama bent pole fishing technique. So that's the Alabama bent pole sonar. They see somebody catch a fish. I mean, they came from 100 yards away, beelined it right to where we were at, went around me, and started casting. I'm like, I've never had that happen before. But anyway, we've got the 2 hour mark. I don't want to keep you any longer. I know you got a lot of stuff to do. You're working out there in Texas and everything, but I do want to leave you with one parting comment from Patricia Shaw, and she's whooped a lot of men's ass in that division. There you go. We'll let that be the last comment of the night. So I like
and
it.
we're
I,
out,
I
right?
like it, and that's that. We're gonna leave it on a positive note for there. Again, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. It was
Thank you
pleasure
for
meeting you.
having me.
Yes, ma'am. It was a pleasure meeting you last year, and you're always welcome to come back. Hopefully, you go out there. I'd like to talk to you. I'll probably message you when you get that open to see how you like it, because that's one of those ones that's going to be a pretty cool experience there to see how you do
Yeah.
with that, how you experience that. But again, I appreciate you taking the time with us tonight, and I'll let you get out of here, guys. Y'all be safe, be good this week. Y'all make sure you tune in tomorrow night for the live well. I think they're gonna have they got a good guest coming on tomorrow night. Tomorrow night or tomorrow day, I think Bassmaster's doing somebody's doing the team tournament, the night tournament, whatever. Anyway, they're gonna have it, I guess, from
Okay.
whatever it goes off at like 7 or 8 o'clock, and then we'll have the show tomorrow night with the guys from the live well. So y'all tune into that. I know you'll enjoy it. Again, thank you for coming on, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thank
All
you
right,
so
guys.
much. I appreciate you for real.
You're very welcome. Y'all have a good evening. We'll see you.